Well, I don't know. That role has seemed to work well for Gronk.
You got it. You got that right.
Morning, EB. Tim?
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this Thursday. We hope your week is going well. We're over the hump. Don't know if we can see the finish line, but we know it's out there. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you?
You're so far away, David. I got used to just looking across and seeing you there in the morning, munching on a snack wrap at 5:50.
Managing 4 different drinks, 3 different food items. I mean, here you are. You take up very little space. You have very little space. You have nothing but equipment in front of you. I have this huge console when I'm in studio on the other side of the glass with you, and I am taking up all of it with a laptop and an extension cords, and my fluids have fluids, and yes, now it must seem very empty.
I'm empty inside because of it, Dave.
I knew it. I set you up there. There's a slow pitch too.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Set you up. That sucker's going way over the left field wall. You hit that.
So what I'm curious, for those of you that don't know, David was here for 2 days. We were in the same studio together, which is nice. We had our fantasy football summit on Tuesday, and David drove down from that. But yesterday, you were disappointed because the New Heights Taylor Swift podcast wasn't dropping till 7 p.m. Right. You had a leisurely drive back to Jacksonville, about 5 hours, 5.5, depending. MLB Radio, the prime choice, music the prime choice? Where did you go for your leisurely drive?
Music and then phone calls. Just saying, well, I might as well, catch up with some folks and what have you. But yeah, I would have, and I guess the podcast is still going. Apparently, it's a lengthy.
We watched about an hour of it, and that's only about half.
Okay.
I watched it as a family. Like, I was into it. I watched the beginning, played the opening scene, the opening segment, which was out for my daughter. She laughed hysterically. And then we picked her up from gymnastics, and I was listening to it in the car while my wife went in to get my daughter. And I'm like, heck, I'll bring it back. It's only a couple minutes. And listened to it in the car, went home, put YouTube on the TV, and watched about 45, 50 minutes of it. The daughter caught most of it. She was getting ready for bed. There are a few curse words in there, but nothing she hasn't heard from dad before. So
Mom was okay with it?
My wife was rather interested in it. She became more interested than I was.
Okay.
And it was the first half. There were a couple of funny parts, but they act like a teenage couple. They're both in their mid-30s. I mean, the two of them they look very smitten for one another. That's the only way to describe it.
Oh, smitten is nice. We all remember smitten.
Exactly.
Ah, okay. Maybe they'll get bogged down in the real world, although their
real world's very different than the rest of our real world.
It really is. I mean, when you're hanging out after a concert that one of the two of you just performed in, and you say, hey, do you want to meet the Royals? Okay. And you're not.
I would be thinking, which Kansas City Royal is here?
Exactly. Okay. And it's like, no, we're talking about, Prince William and the kids. Oh, okay. Yeah. They paid money to come see me, by the way. Yeah. Let them in. Oh.
I couldn't imagine you around anyone from the royal family. They would you would be escorted out so quickly if you got time with anyone from the royal family, because they would not like your line of questioning.
Well, I don't know if I would start with a line of questioning. I would try to have some witty repartee. My whole thing is I would just have to go, all right, what's the protocol? All right. Are we allowed to shake hands? Is there anybody here I have to curtsy to? Is there a bow, a half bow? What? It's kind of it's like growing up Catholic, okay, and not knowing when you're up, when you're kneeling. What am I doing? That's all. I would just need to know the protocol.
I think, being Catholic, David, if you ever really run into a jam, you just yell, go Irish in the middle of Mass, and you're usually able to get away with it.
I understand. And I mean, let's face it, we're all looking around at each other. Is this stand up? Oh, so let's stand up. Okay, right.
It's funny. I try to be the first one. That when it's time to stand, I try to beat everybody else up. My own little game I play while I'm there for an hour. If I'm going to be there for an hour, I've got to be able to amuse myself.
Well,
and you can't do that verbally. It's not like you can strike up a conversation with someone else. It's not like you can shout things out loud in disagreement. You're basically there to be quiet and listen. But I try to win the race up or even down. Get that little kneeler out there right away and be the first one down.
All right. If you sat in the back, I'd understand the whole trying to be first, but you, from what you've told me, your wife and your daughter, you're in like the first three rows. You're sitting in the front of the class.
First half. We've kind of found a spot about 8 rows back that the wife seems to like.
I was going to say, because I mean, when you're sitting that close, I mean, how do you know if you're first? You're just amusing yourself. By the way,
David, you answered. That's it. That's all I'm trying to do. I don't care if Fred and Ethel pay any attention to me over on the other pew. I'm merely amusing myself for 45 to 50 minutes.
For the record, you said you can't talk to anybody. If I went to church with you, I'd start talking to you, and then we'd get shushed, but we would talk throughout the whole thing. I would.
Yeah, they frown upon that.
Like, Mark.
And by they, I mean my wife. There's only one person there. I know I'm supposed to be paying attention to a higher power and all that, but there's really
And you are.
Only one well played, David.
Thank you.
That's a dadgum good point right
I
there.
was going to say, I mean, you got your big fella and I got mine.
Because the daughter and I, every once in a while, will exchange looks or the occasional word or two. And it's not the daughter that gets in trouble. It's me, the one that's being the antagonist in these situations.
Of course. Miller and Moulton on this Thursday. And I posed a question in retweeting our show lineup this morning. And by the way, really good lineup. We'll talk plenty of football in the 8 o'clock hour. Chris Perkins, the Dolphins having a couple scrimmages, practices with the Lions. Apparently they got their butt kicked yesterday. But
well, the Lions, I have, Campbell questioned the team's toughness. So they wanted to bring in a team that would really challenge their overall team toughness for joint practices. So they brought the Dolphins in.
Right. And, just trying to preview as many teams as we can. And Andrew Moore, Sports Illustrated, will join us to talk the Colts and whether or not it's a real quarterback competition or is this thing already over. And there is a fascinating story. At least I think so. So, Mark, unfortunately, you're stuck with it. But there is a fascinating story, which I think we'll get into in much greater detail. And it involves another athlete suing the NCAA over eligibility. It's not an original suit, but it's the latest one. And we will talk about it in the bonus hour today. But, Mark, I'm just posing, I don't know if it's a poll question because it's really yes or no. But will the Milwaukee Brewers lose before week 0? Will they lose before the football season begins? The answer is yes. They've won 12 in a row, and we're 9 days away from week 0. So I don't think the winning streak's going to reach the 20s. But my goodness, because, Mark, they're scoring like a football team lately also.
Well, that's in the last few days here. That's what's been even more impressive. Not just the fact that they don't seemingly are ever going to lose again. They're destroying teams.
Right.
I mean, they jumped all over Skeens 2 days ago with a couple of home runs early. That doesn't happen to him ever. And then yesterday, they just pummeled the Pirates again. So the Brewers have it going on. What's their lead now? 6.5 on the Cubs?
7.5. And that's
7.5 on the Cubs.
I think it's 7.5 with the Cubs winning yesterday. I mean, that's how dominant they are.
So baseball's really happy that they're peaking now, not in October. And what a treat, David. If you were in Milwaukee today, you'd be one happy guy. We'll get into it a little later, but it's your kind of promotion, David. That's all I'm saying.
Nice.
Your kind of promotion.
Nice. Is this like buy one, get one with brats? I mean, what do we got?
No, it's better. It's just free. It's just free.
It's just free?
Oh, yeah. A company has been doing this for years. If the Brewers win 12 straight, everybody in Milwaukee gets a free burger. It hasn't happened in a long, long time.
So yesterday it happened.
Right.
Hot damn.
Free burgers, David.
Well, where do we have to go to get them?
Milwaukee.
By the way,
promotion has been around for 80 plus years. And it's happened twice, I believe.
So do you have to prove you're a Brewers fan? Or, I mean, could you be sitting there with your Cubs hat on and get your free burger? Well, you guys are beating us like a drum. Least I can do is get a cheeseburger out of this. I like it.
Absolutely. I mean, it first started, David, if you need to know, it had to be 17 games. It started when the Braves joined the major leagues in 1953. It started, I guess, in the 40s with a 17-game win streak with their minor league team. The Braves started the major leagues in 53. The promotion dropped to 13. And then the Brewers, after moving from Seattle, finally did it in 87. They gave away 170,000 burgers.
Nice.
No idea, but it's the first time that the Braves have won 12 in a row, third time in their history. We'll see how many burgers are given away with this promotion.
I'm guessing more.
Oh, if they did 170,000 way back then, this company better be prepared to move the comma over.
Right. This could put this company out of business.
Exactly.
I don't know when the Brewers are going to win this many games again, but this could be the last time they give away hamburgers.
Miller and Moulton. For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
This is Miller and Moulton.
So David, just helping me out here. This is about Lewis Moore, the safety for Indiana. Is that the? I mean, I spent a while just trying to find this story because it wasn't a headline anywhere.
Oh, that's funny. It was yesterday.
I mean, I'm looking at Athletic, ESPN. I'm looking at the college football tab. I'm going all like, what is he talking about? I've had to work to find this morning.
Sorry about that.
And then I'm trying to make sure it's the right story because I couldn't find it.
Sonny, what did John Stockton say? He's said a lot of things over the years.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. There is no early guest today, so the starting five is roughly 15 minutes away.
So there.
Yeah.
We'll keep everything normal today.
Although I know a lot of you enjoyed our conversation with Bill King yesterday because Bill King has one of those voices in which you could just listen to him. I know. Do we have phone books anymore? The line used to be, I'd listen to so-and-so read the phone book.
You know, it's funny you say that, David. I'm driving my daughter home from school, and she goes to school downtown in Fort Myers. And so when we come up, we're coming up to the highway, and there is a towing business. And some of these are older buildings, and it's been there a while, and it's Alligator Towing. And my daughter just looks over because we were at a light. She goes, Alligator Towing? What is that? I'm like, it's just a tow truck company. She's like, they're nothing to do with alligators. Right? I'm like, no. I go, my guess is just based on where this is in Fort Myers, they've been here a while, and they picked out something that was Florida-like. And also, we had these things called phone books. And when you looked up a tow truck company, it was alphabetized. So the Alligator Towing got them up at the top of the list, and either the white or the yellow pages, because believe it or not, we actually had to use books to look up numbers to call on our telephone. And she's just looking at me like, how old are you? And I, at the time, was telling the story going, how old am I?
And you're not that old, but boy, technologically, one generation to the next, it certainly makes us feel it. Never mind, you didn't get into the fact that I had to walk and find a quarter and use a payphone to call Alligator Towing, but that's a whole other story. So something happened yesterday, and I think it hits home more with me than you, but this franchise does play in the same division as your favorite franchise. The Minnesota Twins The Minnesota Twins have been owned by the Pohlad family for a little over 40 years. Now, the Pohlad family did save the Twins, okay? And there was a time when the Pohlad family was thought of fondly. I mean, shortly after buying the Twins, they did win 2 World Series in the next 8 years, I think it was. So, but the Pohlad family has not been thought of all that great lately because, well, they don't spend money. And Twins fans, it's been almost 35 years, and they're like, yeah, I wouldn't mind going back to another World Series. Okay, come on. Can't we spend a little more money? And the franchise has been for sale, Mark, for the last year and a half. And yesterday, the Pohlad family made an announcement, and Twins fans got excited. They're like, hey, we got a buyer. All right. They can't spend less money than the Pohlads unless the Pirates guy's buying our team. I mean, this is great. And the Pohlad family's announcement was, yeah, we found a couple investors to help us take care of our $400 million debt. And so we're going to keep the team. And we're very excited about the future. And Mark, Twins fans are seriously considering no longer being Twins fans. The reaction from, quote, Twins Nation is hostile, angry. Buddy of mine was at Vikings training camp all day yesterday. The only topic of conversation on the sidelines, players, coaches, media, fans, the only topic of conversation was not the Vikings. It was the Twins and whether or not we're going to stay Twins fans. Okay. And literally the closest team geographically is now on a 12-game winning streak. And they're like, man, I know they were rivals for a long time, but can we root for the Brewers? Is it okay for folks in Minnesota to root for a team in Wisconsin? Because I'm fed up.
Well, and obviously the reason they're fed up is that they thought the possibility of selling the team to someone who was going to spend money existed, and now it looks like the team just had a cash grab so they can still have all of the rights of the team and be the majority owners, but pocket a little bit more money because they're already pocketing some on the luxury tax that other teams meet, and they're one of the low payroll teams, so they're getting paid on both sides here, David.
Then they release a statement. Apparently, the youngest member of the family is named Joe, and Joe doesn't want to give up being part of the club. Joe likes being the CEO of a Major League Baseball team, and Mark, who can blame him, right? Sounds like a cool gig.
None of us could.
Right. Sounds like a cool gig. You know, Dad, do we have to sell the team? I like technically running it. It's fun. I like going to New York for these meetings. They have really good restaurants there. This is fun. Right. Twins Nation is bent. There was a meme going around yesterday. The Twins sent out, the Pohlads sent out, hey, Twins fans, and on official stationery, and they sent it out electronically. Yeah, Twins fans answered it. They took down what the Pohlads said, and they put a big middle finger on the stationery. And that's what Twins fans sent back to the Pohlad family and to the Twins organization. By the tens of thousands.
And the Twins' attendance, I believe, is probably as low as it's been in a while. They're only averaging 22,000 fans a game. That's 24th in a 30-team league. And when you throw out the Athletics and the Rays, and for that matter, the Marlins, there are only a couple of teams that play in real ballparks where fans attend. And I know Miami technically is a real ballpark, but you're talking about Kansas City, which they've been a huge disappointment, and they've actually spent money and done things. So I'm curious why no one's going in Kansas City. Pittsburgh, we all understand. The White Sox, we all understand. And then the Marlins, the Rays, and the Athletics. So the fans have responded by not going, but typically the one thing, and you've talked about this as long as we've been doing a show, from a television and radio standpoint, There's nothing more watched or more listened to in Minnesota than Twins baseball. They're incredibly popular.
A huge radio network, like 11 states. All right, because it's Minnesota, it goes into northern Iowa, and then, man, the Twins fandom go west. The Dakotas, Montana, and yeah, the Rockies have a little bit of fandom, but I'm telling you, the Twins, when they do their winter caravan, it takes a month, seriously, for them to travel from small town to small town and hit all the places that they want to hit. Anyway, Mark, we talk about this when a fan base gets angry at ownership. We're seeing it in St. Louis with the Cardinals. I mean, my goodness, it's not like that team's been poorly run for the last 30 years. They've done a lot of winning, thank you very much. And they've had some really good players along the way, too. But the fans are honked off. And this year, they haven't shown up. Even when the team rallied here, got back in playoff contention, fans are like, nah, I ain't buying it. And you know what? I'm honked at the owner. I'm not going. We saw it in Tampa before Brady. Okay, Bucks fans were starting to say to the Glazers, you know what? You disgust me. I'm done.
And they were done. They went through a 25-year waiting list for season tickets in an hour and a half.
Right?
Now, then they got themselves a Tom Brady,
Well,
and well, that all changed.
And by the way, they started winning right after that. How about that? But anyway, there is a mutiny going on in the upper Midwest, Mark. And I know most people don't pay attention to it, but this may be something worth paying. Honestly, there is a revolt going on this morning.
Vikings win their first two. The revolt completely goes away. I understand. Twins have been there a long time, long history. Put the Vikings off to a good start with J.J. McCarthy. All will be forgiven. The starting five is next. Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Rheem Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Michael, we really just explained why the Twins fans are upset. And we know you are a Rockies fan and struggle with that. But I'm going to turn the chat off. I'm better when I don't even pay attention to it. The last 2 days were glorious. You were over there. I looked that way. See, now I got to look over here at the screen.
They just wanted new owners. They also, Michael, thought like the who's the Michigan State brother who bought the Suns?
Ishbia.
Ishbia. Well, Ishbia's brother was in line to buy the Twins. And at the last minute, he had a minority stake, a really small stake in the White Sox. And at the last minute, switched to buying a bigger stake in the White Sox. But now he's in line to become the White Sox owner when Reinsdorf passes or decides to give it up. It could take quite a while. It could take 8-10 years.
All right. What do you any poll question ideas?
Will the Brewers ever lose again?
Yep, that's a great one. Let's do that one. I like it. Hey, Wes, it brings me down. During the show now, I turn it off, Wes. Sorry. Some of you guys offer insightful things, but a lot of you are just in there to do your own thing. And you know what? Do your own thing. It's easier if I just turn it off. I turn it on during the commercial breaks. I turn it off during the show.
Since we asked who was going to win the SEC, do we want to ask who's going to win the Big Ten?
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Do you put
Penn State
anybody besides the Big Three?
Well, you put, I think, Oregon.
Right. Penn State, Oregon.
Oh, okay. I thought by Big Three you meant Michigan.
Michigan's not part of the Big Three right now in that conference. Don't know how they could be. Michael, you're right. The Rockies they're historically bad. We all know that. You've made 7 posts about the goddamn Rockies. We get it. We get it, man. Okay? Again, I'm sorry. I'm turning this off. I'm done. Can't do it anymore.
My buddy Robes there says he's about ready to become a Brewers fan. You have no idea how much pain he is experiencing if there's any truth to that statement. And I'll explain later.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes until the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. So we're going to take the easy way out, but it's in line with what we did yesterday. We had 2 poll questions yesterday, one sports, one non-sports. We had a football question and a meat question.
Exactly. Football and meat. That's important.
Right.
And Georgia, by our listeners, in an ever so slight margin, they think will win the SEC. Texas slightly behind the Dogs. LSU finished 3rd. Alabama finished last. We picked the top 4 rated teams in both polls. They're all top 10 teams in the preseason polls and put those up. And yesterday was National Filet Mignon Day. So we asked how you like your steak, because we've asked you before what your favorite cut of meat is. In fact, we've probably asked several poll questions more than once, but that's our nature. Medium rare, the big winner, medium in second. And somehow nearly 12% of you ruin your steaks. 10% don't cook it, 12% ruin it. That was a bigger number than I thought. I thought the medium well done, I like ketchup on my steak category would be a
Now,
little lower than 10%.
that's a very listen, it's one thing for you to not like those of us who prefer it medium well or beyond, but to then accuse us that we're going to put ketchup on our steak. I mean, come on now.
I mean, I'm just factually trying to articulate what that steak then tastes like and how you've ruined it. You might as well put ketchup on it. That's all.
I like mine medium well, for the record, so there you go. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X. So I say today we ask who's going to win the Big Ten. We've got the big three and the consensus top 10 in the country: Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon, in whatever order you think. Do we just leave it those three, or do we put other? And then if somebody likes Illinois or Michigan or what have you.
Or Nebraska or Indiana. Oh, boy. But Nebraska's got that schedule.
They do.
They can end up being in the conversation for the Big Ten title game. There's not a doubt in my mind that when we get to November, particularly if Nebraska beats Michigan, what's that, late September you're there, David, for that game? Or mid-September?
I believe it's September. It's the fourth game of the year. It's week 4.
Okay. So if Nebraska beats Michigan week 4, then I do think Nebraska will at least be in the conversation of a team with an opportunity to get to the Big Ten championship.
I think it's officially on the 20th. Time now for
the starting 5. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is the starting 5.
The Brewers are going to score a run for every win they add to the winning streak. That's not true, but it just seems that way. They won their 12th in a row yesterday, beating Pittsburgh 12-5. Contreras 4 RBIs, Yelich with 3 RBIs. Brian Reynolds did have a nice day for the Pirates with 2 homers and all 5 of their runs driven in. The Cubs keep pace, but they're 7.5 back in the Central. They beat Toronto 4-1. Cubs hit 2 homers and held the Jays to just 2 hits. Toronto's lead in the East remains 4.5 because the Red Sox lost to Houston 4-1. Yainer Diaz with a homer and 3 RBIs. The Astros are now alone in first place because Seattle got beat by Baltimore, who scored in the bottom of the 9th to win 4-3. So Houston with a 1-game lead in the West. Listen, you know things are going badly for the Yankees. They lost to the Twins. It's almost a law that the Yankees do not lose to the Twins, but they got beat 4-1 yesterday. But the big story is the Twins are no longer for sale, and the fan base wants nothing to do with the current owners. This could get very ugly. The Yankees' wild card lead remains 1 over Cleveland because the Guardians got whooped by the Marlins, who had 17 hits, 4 homers, and scored 13 runs, 13-4 over the Guardians to snap their 4-game skid. And Detroit said, "Thank you very much, Miami," because 4 pitchers held the White Sox to 2 hits and a 1-0 win. So the Tigers' lead in the Central is back up to 6.5. Just when the Royals get to 500, Mark,
they pull us back down.
The Nats score in the 9th to beat Kansas City 8-7. The Reds got a grand salami from Miguel Andujar and shut out the Phillies 8-0. The Phillies' lead remains 5, however, because the Mets blew a 6-0 lead when the Braves scored 9 in the 4th. And beat the Mets 11-6. The Mets loss combined with the Reds win, the Mets wild card lead for the final playoff spot is down to a game. Both the Yankees and Mets are 6 seeds, 1 game ahead of the state of Ohio, Cleveland, and Cincinnati. And we've got a new first place team in the National League West. The Padres sweep the Giants 11-1, while the Angels sweep the Dodgers. In fact, that's the second Angels sweep of the Dodgers. They went 6-0 against the Dodgers this year. 2 in the 8th. The Angels rally to win 6-5. The Padres with a 1-game lead in the West. Colorado with 2 in the 9th. A pinch hit 2-run homer by Hunter Goodwin. Colorado 6-5 over St. Louis. Tough loss for the Cardinals. They would have gained ground on everybody. All right. Meanwhile, Arizona with 4 in the 9th with 2 outs. 2 2-run homers, went down 4-2, and the Diamondbacks beat the Rangers 6-4 to drop Texas all the way to 500. Oh, by the way, Brandon Lau and that Caminero guy homered again, number 34 for Junior. Rays 8-2 over the A's. NFL news. You know, with all the talking that Jerry Jones does and all the leaks that are in the Cowboys organization, it is remarkable that Jerry Jones disclosed something yesterday, which is 15 years old, that nobody knew about. He's been battling cancer. He was diagnosed with stage 4 melanoma back in June of 2010. He said an experimental drug saved his life. The 82-year-old also claimed he's now tumor and cancer-free. Hope it's true. Congratulations, Jera, for seemingly winning the fight of your life. Browns quarterback Shedeur Sanders strained his oblique just throwing the ball in practice yesterday, likely unable to play in the preseason game against the Eagles this week.
And it could be more than that, David. You know, I was reading oblique injuries. They say 4 or 5 weeks. It's an injury that you cannot come back from too soon because you are more than likely going to re-aggravate it. So this really puts a hitch in what Shedeur Sanders was trying to accomplish this preseason. You know, if he was ever going to get past Pickett to be the number 2, I think was doubtful. But this injury, to me, cost him any chance of being the 2, and it may cost him the chance of starting as the 3 because Gabriel's back now, and he may be the one put on the injured reserve to start the season.
Pat Kerwin has thought for weeks that either Gabriel or Sanders was going to end up on IL for the season as a way to stash him. This could be a legit injury, unable to start the season, end up getting stashed. By the way, the Falcons and Titans scrimmage yesterday, they had a skirmish. Michael Penix was right there in the middle of it. That's one of the 2 quarterbacks. What quarterbacks in the middle of a skirmish, which, by the way, usually leads to a melee because the team whose quarterback's in the skirmish usually freaks out.
Well, he ended up, from what I saw, at the bottom of the pile, too, which adds to the freak-out factor, if you will.
Mark, it's kind of like, you know, the incident in baseball. Guy gets hit by a pitch. When the best player on your team gets hit by a pitch, the bullpen door immediately opens. Those guys are 100 feet onto the field before they're told to go back. The quarterbacks involved in a skirmish, I'm surprised they're still not fighting.
Well, there was a little skirmish in Cincinnati because their number 1 draft pick apparently hit Burrow on a play, and the offensive line went bat blank crazy.
Yes.
That was their own team. Imagine when it's another team hitting the quarterback. And, oh, yes, by the way, he's wearing the red jersey.
It happened during our show yesterday, but Bills running back James Cook signed a 4-year, $48 million extension, 30 of the 48 guaranteed. Dolphins defensive lineman Chop Robinson carted off at the Lions scrimmage, but he then took to X to say, quote, "I'm good, y'all. Nothing serious," because it looked worse than that. And finally, sad news, an original Denver Bronco, he's in their Ring of Fame, wide receiver Lionel Taylor died, and he died a week ago at the age of 89, but the family just let the news out yesterday. Taylor's the first wide receiver in NFL or AFL history with 100 catches in a season. He was also the first man of color who was a coordinator. in the NFL when he was the offensive coordinator of the Rams under Ray Malavasi in 1980 and 81. He also was the wide receivers coach in Pittsburgh. They had a couple of guys named Swan and Stallworth while he was their wide receivers coach.
Never heard of him.
Lionel Taylor was 89. NBA, the Trailblazers are sold to Carolina Hurricanes owner Tom Dundon, who's keeping the team in Portland. That was the condition of the sale. Just over $4 billion. Can you explain to me how the Portland Trailblazers are worth 2.5 times what the Minnesota Twins are worth? I mean, I know it's all monopoly money, but I don't understand it.
David, I struggle with that. My only explanation that I'll try to give you is the overwhelming international appeal of the NBA, the globalization of that sport. Maybe that's the reason.
College football, Kansas's football stadium is named after David Booth. So he wrote Kansas a check for $300 million yesterday to help repair his stadium and then use the rest of the money however you want. Indiana safety Lewis Moore received a 14-day temporary restraining order, allowing him to practice with the Hoosiers. The NCAA is arguing Moore's eligibility is up. Moore's arguing, I played 3 years at a JUCO. Can't count a year as a JUCO as a year at a D1 school. That doesn't count. That's not the same. And a judge is pondering whether or not he's right. Remember, you had the Rutgers safety who he won making the same argument during the summer. Okay, and Pavia, the Vandy quarterback, got an extra year making the same argument. Anyway, August 27th, the judge will decide whether or not this kid can still play or his career is over. WNBA, New York lost while our Atlanta Dream won, Mark, 6th in a row. Our buddy Semesco has them with the second best record in the league. Golden State and Phoenix also winners. Golf resumes today. BMW, the second of the 3 playoff rounds of the FedEx Cup playoffs. LPGA resumes in Portland with the Portland Classic. And at 8 minutes before the hour, that was the starting 5. 5 big stories. And hey, a year at JUCO isn't the same as a year in Kansas, right?
I'm struggling with this one, David, because they're claiming that they lacked the opportunity to get NIL when they were in junior college. If they would have been talented enough, they would have been playing D1 ball. I don't get this argument. I don't. I'm not that smart. I need someone a lot smarter than me to explain how a year of college isn't a year of college.
And you and I are usually on the sides of the athlete. I'm not on the side of the athlete for one, what you just said. 2, when this kid was at JUCO, there wasn't NIL. All right. And 3, hey, there's a big difference between eligibility and marketability. Eligibility and getting paid. Okay. It's one thing to argue for 5 years being 5 years of eligibility, but you're not guaranteed 5 years of getting paid. Where does it say that you're guaranteed 5 years of getting paid? So I'm almost always on the side of the athlete, Mark. I'm not on this one.
Yeah, I just don't understand. I mean, I'm not trying to compare them to regular students, but a student can go to a JUCO, transfer to a college, those credits transfer, and they can graduate in 4 years. If a JUCO credit only counted half as much, then I would understand the argument. But to me, it's not apples and apples.
Shoeless Joe Sports is where your fantasy football draft should be. Free private rooms, Wi-Fi, plus food and drink specials. In August, Shoeless has bingo and trivia Tuesdays and Thursdays with your chance to win free wings and beer for a year. Fridays, live music on the deck. Saturdays, karaoke on the deck. Plus daily meal specials like Wednesdays, $6 wings and half-price pizza. Watch all your baseball and football at Shoeless Joe's, your home for good food, good times, and good sports in the Bell Tower Shops, Fort Myers.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
Summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Got a cracked window or foggy glass? Don't wait for the next storm to make it worse. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business is just down the road and ready to help. From leaky frames to shattered panes, we've got the tools and the know-how to get your home or business storm ready. With flexible scheduling and our done right promise, you'll be in good hands. So before or after the weather hits, call your neighbors at Glass Doctor.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah!
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller & Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller & Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest, now try the best. Miller & Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Michael, last thing I'll say on this, please, because I really don't want to have to do this subject anymore in the chat room. But yes, the Rockies are worse off than the Twins, but Rockies fans don't seem to mind. You guys are going to the games. Attendance is fine. Okay. Twins fans are pissed. And now they're furious.
Yeah, right now the Rockies are averaging more fans than Seattle, Detroit, and Cincinnati. All two teams that are in the playoffs, one that's a game away. So if you're the Rockies,
Right.
explain to me why you need to spend money on players.
Totally.
If you own the team.
Right. You know, Twins hadn't won a playoff series in a generation. They finally win a playoff series. They got a decent young team. And the ownership's like, we're going to invest in this team. And instead, they've ended up breaking it up. Well, you know, Michael, you spin everything, everything. And that's why we're, tired of it. There's a fine line between loyal, dedicated, and, hey, come on now. Enough's enough. I mean, are you guys more loyal and dedicated than Cardinals fans? And Cardinals fans have said to their ownership, we're fed up with you. Okay. I mean, at some point you have to, not be lapdogs. You could argue you're not loyal, dedicated fans. You're lapdogs at this point. But that's it. I'm done.
Please. Thank you.
By the way, Chris via video. Because
Perkins?
Yeah.
Yeah. I sent him the link already. I sent him the link already. I put the Big Ten question up.
Mm-hmm.
Monday Q and Food, David. Q and Food just sent a tweet to Shane Bacon with a card. I don't know who the kid is from Italy, or not kid, because he's 34, but he shot 64 today, David, with a 29 on the back, and he made 4 bogeys. 64 with 4 bogeys.
Yikes. Damn. That's a great match play scorecard.
Oh my God. What would he win by? 4 birdies on the front, 2, 4, 6 birdies and an eagle on the back with a 29.
10 birdies.
He shot a 29 with a bogey. A 29 with a bogey.
10 birdies and an eagle. Even if the other guy on 3 of those 10 holes also birdied. Okay.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Thursday. Thanks so much for being with us. Chris Perkins to talk the Dolphins. 1 hour from now. Andrew Moore in about 90 minutes to talk the Colts. Do they have a quarterback situation, or is it pretty much resolved? And if so, who?
Did you see Richardson? Sorry, David, but did you see? I think the comments were yesterday. They may have been the day before, but did you see Richardson's comments? That something along the lines of, I really want to understand. I'm really going to understand the offense this year. It's year 3, bro.
It's been the same offense.
I mean, come on. I want to be a guru of this offense this year. Let people who follow the team and cover the team to go, this is year 3.
Same offense too. I mean, it's same head coach. It's the same offense. It's not like it's, Baker Mayfield with a different coordinator seemingly every year for the last 5 years.
Exactly. It was something that I saw that and I just I chuckled to myself, because it is the question that we will ask when we have him on. But to me, Richardson's answering all his own questions for us. Just listen to what he says. He's not an NFL quarterback. We didn't think so going in. We thought it was a horrible pick. I mean, this is one that we were well before the draft. We did not like the idea of Richardson being drafted in the first round at all. We thought he was, at best, a late second-day pick that was a project. He didn't play enough in college. He got hurt at Florida. So there was not enough starts for a guy to look good in shorts and a T-shirt to say, I'm going to invest in him to be the face of my NFL team.
Here's my question, and it's not just specifically of the Colts. When you give the general manager a chance, now listen, they caught a bad break. Andrew Luck quit on them.
Yep.
Literally quit on them.
Yep.
Halfway through a career. I mean, Andrew Luck should be winding up his career right now. Remember, the Colts picked Luck, 2012 was his first season? No, because that was Peyton's first year in Denver. And he sat at 11. Is it 2012, right?
I think that's right. I mean, he's 35. He will be 36 in September.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. He's younger than Matthew Stafford.
Right.
Andrew Luck. And he quit August of 19, was it?
That's correct. That's exactly right, David.
So he played 2012 through 2018. He played 7 years. I mean, if you're the Colts' first overall pick, he's an outstanding player. you're thinking barring injury, and yeah, he got banged up. He took a lot of hits.
He took a tremendous amount of hits, but
He
man,
did.
the kid could play.
Yes. But if you're the Colts, I mean, the current general manager, who was not the guy who drafted him, but when he got the job, he was thinking, I'm going to have Andrew Luck to the mid-2020s. They caught a really bad break. And they have had, Phillip Rivers for a year, who, by the way, was very good during that year. They tried Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan, and then they said, well, let's draft the kid. But they drafted Richardson. You're the new owner now, Mark, of the Colts. You're the daughter. You're not Mr. Irsay. All right? Do you let this guy pick the next quarterback? I mean,
No.
So do you only give a GM one shot at drafting the franchise quarterback, or do you give him a second, but you don't get a third?
Well, I guess it depends, David, because every circumstance is different.
Mm-hmm.
You draft a quarterback, and that quarterback ends up being someone who suffers a lot of injuries, and there was no injury history beforehand. I'm not going to blame the general manager. But to draft a guy fourth who had that few college starts, who had an injury history, I can't trust this GM to do it again. You've already lost a decade with this guy. You're losing more time every day. So I don't think I can trust this general manager to lead my franchise going forward. No, I wouldn't give him a second chance.
Chris Ballard's been the GM since 2017. Now, even though Luck and the Colts had a lot of success, it was Ryan Grigson, I believe, who was the GM before him, who did not put a good offensive line in front of Andrew Luck. Luck got beat up. Luck retires. Ballard did put a good offensive line together for Phillip Rivers, for Carson Wentz. But the Colts have seemingly lived in 8-9 win land since Andrew Luck retired. And barring Daniel Jones having, reaching heights he's never reached before. I mean, even the one terrific year he had with the Giants, he was still really limited and managed. I mean, the Colts at some point soon are going to have to go get themselves a franchise quarterback. And I'm just curious. You're the new owner now of the Colts. Do you let this guy get a second bite at it? Like, this was my big dilemma. I thought Joe Douglas did a phenomenal job 90% of the time picking players for the Jets. The problem is when he had the second overall pick of the draft, all right, he picked the current backup in Miami
Zach
right
Wilson.
now, who
Right.
can't play.
Right.
Second pick of the draft, can't play. Listen, I mean, the Niners had the third pick and took Trey Lance. I mean, he's not alone, but I'm just saying, with the second overall pick, he got it woefully wrong. And then with the next highest pick that he had, he took Mekhi Becton, who was dreadful for the Jets. Now, he was resurrected in Philadelphia behind arguably a Hall of Fame caliber offensive line coach. But the two highest picks that Douglas had, he got completely whiffed. On just about everything else he did, he was terrific. Do you keep him?
Well, when it comes to Ballard, and I know your point on Douglas, and we've gone over this numerous times on the show. When it comes to Ballard, I'm going to lean more to what the owner of the Lions did when she took over for her father. And the Fords had run that franchise horribly for a long time. I'm not saying that Irsay ran the franchise as badly as it was run in Detroit, but since Luck retired, this franchise has had very little direction. I think, can you agree with that, David, that they've been rudderless?
They've been whack-a-mole. It's, Phillip Rivers, whack. Carson Wentz, whack. Matt Ryan, whack. Okay, Joe Flacco, whack. Yes.
So if I were her, I would want to remove as many links that were tied to my father as possible. I would want to make this my team. If I'm indeed planning on being the owner for the next, 20, 30 years, which she's in her 50s, right? I believe.
I think she's even younger. I think
She's younger than
40s.
So I mean, she's, she plans on having this team and running it for the next 20, 30 years. I'd want to put my stamp on the team. I would want to get a GM or, my director of football operations, someone that I can allow. And if there's another person that needs to be between the GM and me, so I'm not hands-on day-to-day, that's fine too. But I would want to find my GM and coach that I can move forward with. And the coach may, he may be fine, but he may be just a victim of circumstance if it goes badly this year and they just clean house.
44, by the way. Carly Ursay Gordon is the daughter. There was 3 of them. The daughter who is now the new principal owner. One of the daughters is in charge of marketing, and the other is in, community outreach and charitable work and all that. And the Colts are a very charitable organization.
So I would be planning on a new regime in Indianapolis.
I'm with
because
you.
I think Ballard's as much to blame as anything else there for how his drafts have gone. I don't think he's done a very good job with that team.
I like their coach. He's gone 17-17, and think of the quarterback play he's been given.
I know.
I think he can coach. I think he needs a shot. I think he's going, man, could you just give me somebody? He's probably looking at Daniel Jones going, if you could just play like you did in 2022 with the Giants, I can keep my job and you can get a contract just like you did with the Giants. Can we do this together, please?
Trying to figure out, though, it's funny because no one thinks the Colts are that team. David, I did a little work yesterday because we have our theory on half the teams going back to the playoffs. Well, since we've gone to the 14-team playoff in 2020, in 2021, 7 teams returned, so half. The same thing in 2022, half. 2023, 8 of the 14 teams returned. Last year, 9 of the 14 team returned. So who are those 5 or 6 teams that are going to jump in? And every year it seems to be someone out of nowhere. You keep pointing to that division, the AFC South, as where there might be an opportunity. Could the Colts sneak up on us? I don't think so. I like the Jags roster every bit as much as I like the Colts roster. And if Liam Cohn can do what he's done, then we should see a much better Trevor Lawrence this year.
Agreed. And a much better running game. That's another team who, like the Dolphins, once it's 3rd and a yard, it might as well be a passing down because they couldn't convert. So I always look at the weak divisions, like the NFC East last year. Where did the big surprise team come from? From what turned out to be a really soft division, much softer than we had anticipated. I'm always looking at the weak division, Mark, as to where, like, I really think the Raiders could be so much more improved this year, better coached, better roster, the whole deal. But how big of a jump are you going to make in that division?
No, and that's, it's funny. We got a couple people in our chat room that are diehard Broncos fans. I know they made the playoffs last year, but, when you look for a surprise, it ain't them. Because when you look around, everybody's picking them to do great things. So they're not a surprise.
No.
I'm still trying to find that surprise team. Miller and Moulton. Chris Perkins coming up at the top of the 8 o'clock hour.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Rheem Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Left Twix, they may be. And I think they slightly are. But that's my point. They're not sneaking up on anybody. I mean, the Bengals don't sneak up on anybody. They didn't make the playoffs a year ago. The Colts, I mean, that would be sneaking up on somebody because no one's expecting anything out of them.
Right. Miami and Indianapolis both won 8-9 last year.
But
right?
if they won 10 games, I think people would be stunned.
Yes.
RCB, I think you're on the right track with that. The Cardinals, that's a team, another 8-win team. But if they were to go to the playoffs, I think, put it this way, the Niners won 6 games, the Cardinals won 8. Who's expected to do better?
Really? They won 8?
Yeah.
Wow. Thought they won 7. Wow.
By the way, my boy John Gruden picked the Bucs. He's picking the Bucs to win the Super Bowl. So there's me and Gruden. That's it.
Say it. Say it.
I love those guys. And you know, RC, I think you're right with the Cards. I mean, I guess the Falcons would, if they won the division, I think that would be a surprise to most people. But we're talking about 8-win teams. You know, all the Cards, the Falcons, the Dolphins, the Colts, they all won 8. Those are our surprise teams. I know who mine is, but I hate to say it, but the Cowboys are going to make the playoffs.
No way.
Okay. Which of these teams, and I won't hold you to it, These are the playoff teams from a year ago. Who doesn't make it? Eagles, Commanders, Rams, Lions, Vikings, Packers, Bucks.
I know. Believe it or not, the most vulnerable team in that group, I think, is the Commanders.
I agree 100%. I mean, everything went right for them last year. Everything. They didn't have any substantial injuries. They won all the close games. They converted every fourth down. They got lucky a couple of times. I mean, the Chiefs may have gotten a little luckier last year with all of the fortunate things that happened to them during the season.
I'll make you a prediction. The quarterback of the 2026 Arizona Cardinals, Kirk Cousins.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X, Chris Perkins to talk Dolphins in 40 minutes time. Andrew Moore in a little over an hour to talk the Colts. Another college athlete suing the NCAA and for the moment winning concerning his eligibility. We'll talk about that in the bonus hour. Our poll question today, and right now we have just one, and it's sports related, so we know it doesn't interest you at all. I mean, what kind of meat and how you like it? Whoo, Nelly. But who do you think's going to win the Big Ten? Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon, or somebody else?
No love for Oregon. Other is tied with Oregon right now.
They were unbeaten, number one team in the country last year, heading to the playoff. Then that whole stupid system about got to wait 2 weeks and got to wait 3 weeks if you get a first-round bye. And, oh, by the way, then they drew Ohio State as their first playoff game. That's a bad draw.
By the way, I will not hold you to it because we're a little too early for predictions. But the most likely rematch of a regular season game in the Big Ten championship is Penn State, Oregon, Penn State, Ohio State. Because Penn State plays both. Or does Penn State not get in the title game because they've lost both?
Right.
They host Oregon and they go to Ohio State.
You know, Ohio State won the Natty, didn't even make the Big Ten title game.
You know, Ohio State, they play Michigan on the road, but they're better than Michigan. They play Illinois on the road. They're better than Illinois. They host Penn State.
And they host Texas.
Right, I'm talking Big
Right.
Ten title.
No, I know that.
I'm not getting into the non-conference games right now.
I would have to say Ohio State, Penn State.
That we're going to get a rematch. And for that reason, David, I picked Penn State to win the Big Ten. They lose the first matchup, but they win the neutral site game.
There you go. There you go.
I think Penn State fans okay with that. If you're going to win one of the two, that would be the one you'd want to win, right? That is going to lock you up. If you win that game, the worst you will be is the 2 seed. The worst. Might be the 1 overall. But if you put a 12-1 up there, I really think the worst you can be is the 2 seed. Maybe if Clemson runs the table and they have a donut up there, that Clemson could get ahead either the SEC or the Big Ten champ.
I know we've got business to attend to here, but there's 2 changes this year to the college football playoff, right? We still have the first round buys because we're at
Correct.
12, but the seeding is not how they did it last year, where
You're not guaranteed a top 4 seed by winning one of the 4
Right.
conferences.
And I believe Notre Dame was not allowed to be a top 4 seed last year because they couldn't win a conference, obviously. Okay, but Notre Dame could be a top 4 seed this year, correct?
They could. They
Meaning-
could. You're right. A Notre Dame donut.
Or even 11-1 might get them a top
11 and 1
seed.
doesn't get them ahead of Penn State 12 and 1. Not in my opinion.
No. But top 4 seed.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Okay, I mean, you could go Penn State could be the 1 or 2. The SEC champion could be 1 or 2. I mean, Notre Dame could still be a 3 or a 4 seed, right?
Right. Yeah.
Right. That's what I meant. They could still, I think 11-1 could still get Notre Dame a top 4 seed. Think about how long the wait could be for Notre Dame to play their first playoff game. We thought Oregon had a long wait last year. Remember, Oregon got to play the Big Ten championship game before they played in the quarterfinals right around New Year's Day against Ohio State. Notre Dame doesn't have a conference championship game. Notre Dame's last game is November, 30th? I mean, Notre
29th,
Dame,
actually, but yes.
okay, I mean, Notre Dame can go a month, can't they, without playing?
Yeah.
A month without playing. Damn. I mean, if you're an Irish fan, you're rooting for, I don't know if I want a top 4 seed. A month? That's a long time.
It is time now for the coolest thing I've seen today, and it's brought to you by Air Advantage. 433-4635. Of course, that's 239-433-4635. They're offering the 18 months, no interest, no payments. A Ream Pro partner. Visit online, myairadvantage.com, myairadvantage.com. I've already talked about it, but come on. Is there anything cooler than free meat? And that's what happened in Milwaukee. And it all happened because of George Webb, the restaurant chain in Milwaukee. Looks like they've got about 16 locations in and around the greater Milwaukee area. I didn't see a widespread, but George Webb's been around for a while. In the 40s, George Webb predicted a 12-game winning streak for Milwaukee's first team. And he'd give a free burger. It happened for the first time in 1987. 168,000 free burgers were given away. In 2018, 90,000 free burgers plus 100,000 redeemable vouchers were given away when the Brew Crew had a 12-game winning streak. Well, they did it again. And if you go to georgewebb.com, they've got it right on the front page. Free burgers. I mean, they're not wasting any time. They're making their announcement at noon today as to how you can get your free burger. That's a promotion. Come on. A free burger, David?
That's
beat it. The coolest thing I've seen today. I'm sure there are others, and I'm sure you have nominees. But free meat on this show? Hell yeah. So give it up for George Webb giving away free burgers because the Brewers have now won 12 straight for the third time in that franchise's history, in the local burger joint, giving away free burgers. That's the coolest thing I've seen today, and it's brought to you by Air Advantage online, myairadvantage.com.
Chris Perkins in a little more than 30 minutes time. $4 billion for the Blazers. I just honestly, I went to bed with that on my mind last night. I'm like,
$4 billion, and basically he's not going to move the team.
No, it was, I believe, part of the sale. I mean, the Allen estate put the team up for sale, but they weren't going to let somebody buy it and move it.
Right, and I believe the money, like the Allen family or whatever, they're not getting the money from the sale of the team. It's all going to better what Allen wanted with his philanthropic ventures with this. So they'll have $4 billion in their coffers to spend. Good for them. Must be nice.
Yeah.
That
By the
really
way,
must be nice.
the Seahawks are not for sale. All right, because they own the Seahawks as well. The family is the Seahawks are not for sale, and supposedly are not going to be for sale. So this isn't a case of, okay, the Blazers dropped and now in the next year or two the Seahawks will drop. But I mean, think about that. We went over and we didn't have the full list yesterday, the values of an NFL franchise. I mean, what do you think the Seahawks would sell for? 7?
I don't know how an NFL franchise could be worth less than 6 based on the Blazers getting 4. You know what I mean?
Right. Like the Commanders just sold for 6-1. Okay.
And I don't think that Seattle's worth what the Commanders are, but how can you get less than 6 right now for an NFL franchise?
I mean, I understand they only play, 8 or 9 home games. I get it versus 41, but just, the Blazers are worth 70% of the Seahawks. I mean, $4 billion for the Blazers. I mean, listen, when Ballmer bid $2 billion for the Clippers, he just wanted the franchise. He was going to outbid everybody. The bid was foolish. Now, these bids are preposterous.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122. or NolanAgency.com. American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow and Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow and Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow and Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
When Glass Doctor replaces your windshield, we don't just send you on your way, we send you off protected. Your local Glass Doctor includes the industry's only 12-month windshield protection plan at no extra cost. That means unlimited chip repairs and even a one-time replacement if needed. High-quality service backed by real peace of mind, right here in your neighborhood.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Exclusions apply. See your local Glass Doctor for details.
Summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
We have I think a good text on the JUCO thing if we want to go back to that.
I'd love to.
I actually think that could have been another poll question if it's got to be worded correctly. But
Yeah, I buy. Mark and I buy Phil Steele every year. I don't know if Mark buys anything else. I don't.
I don't either.
First off, I've never thought highly of Lindy's.
Neither have I.
When I've purchased it many, many, many years ago, I thought
Athlon better back in the day was the one I would go before Phil Steele came to fruition. I was an Athlon guy, and there was another one years ago, and I can't remember the name.
Was it Street and Smith?
No, it was a way off the beat one that I found when I was doing my show in Raleigh, and it was more of it was more along the lines of Phil Steele with a gambling edge to it.
Gotcha.
And this guy would have, his best bet of the year for every team. And I remember stealing a few of those when I was in Raleigh.
Mhm.
Because he'd have this game and he'd have the trends and why he was picking so and so. And the year I was doing a show in Raleigh, holy crap, was that book good?
Mhm. Yeah, Michael, Phil Steele. It's Barnes and Noble Books a Million, hard copy. Um, has been for years. In DC, it was a good point. I mean, because you have to, in the season ticket package, is the preseason games, although at least a third of those tickets get unused. So, you don't make the same money. But yes, that was a good point. Stand corrected. Puck, lighten up. You grind us. You take everything literally. First off, I was just having some fun. Poll questions, sports ones, non-sports ones. The non-sports ones do consistently get more votes. In some cases, it's a huge margin. But you grinded me because the one we did yesterday was only a 15% difference. I mean, first off, it still got more votes. But that's the type of stuff that I have to admit, Mark and I are beginning to have trouble letting go in the chat room. And we need to. And it was an amazing thing that we discovered the last 2 days being in the studio, looking at one another. We weren't looking at this screen. So we didn't see all of your comments. Okay. And so all of the negative ones and all of the ball busting that you do of us, we didn't see it. And it made for a much more enjoyable show for us. Maybe not for you, but for us. We weren't inundated with Colorado sports for 4 hours. We didn't have our balls busted over one flippant comment on the show. So I have to do better. In the last week, you guys have gotten to me, and you had never gotten to me before. So I got to go. I got to take a day off. I got to get away. I'm going to go see my mom. I'm going to go work a preseason game.
When's your preseason game?
Monday in DC.
Oh, it is a Monday. We were talking about that yesterday. I'm like, I know David's doing one. I just don't know if it's an actual Monday night game or. Can you hear that?
For a split second, I heard some noise.
I did too. I'm like, what? It sounded like a loudspeaker. And I'm like, come on, people.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes until Chris Perkins will join us to talk about the Dolphins. Andrew Moore will join us an hour from now to talk about the Colts. Sammy Jacobs will join us the top of our bonus hour to talk about a story that Miller and Moulton would like to talk a little bit more about right now. First, our poll question of the day. Yesterday, we asked you who was going to win the SEC. We put the 4 highest ranked teams according to the preseason polls. Well, today we did the same thing, only with the 3 highest ranked teams. Ohio State, Penn State, and Oregon, who are all consensus top 7 teams in the country. But we did throw other out there because Illinois and Michigan are in everybody's top 15 or so. So, don't want to not at least have a 4th choice. But that's our poll question. Who's going to win the Big Ten? That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller _Moulton on X.
So we got this text a while back when we were talking about the JUCO player, and just about, really not about that particular player, but we were talking about JUCO in general. And the JUCO player has been arguing, because they have not had access to NIL, that essentially they did not get the same opportunities. And stop me if I'm saying any of this wrong, David, but they did not get the same opportunities to capitalize on their collegiate career that others who played 4 years for a Division I school did. And therefore, they should be granted another year of eligibility.
Yes, that a JUCO year does not equal a Division I year, because JUCOs do not have the ability to collect NIL. Therefore, you can't count it against me as a full year of eligibility. But what they end up arguing in court, Mark, is that it shouldn't count at all. Okay, because I mean, they're not arguing it should count as 1/2 or 1/3 or 5/8 or anything like that. They're just saying, hey, it ain't a apples to apples comparison. Therefore, I still have eligibility left.
And I think this is a valid point. I don't think it applies to all of the JUCO players. I don't think it applies to nearly as many as it may have 15, 20 years ago. But he does say a lot of these JUCO guys didn't have the grades to go D1. So whose fault is that? So let's reward them for not doing what they were supposed to do in the first place. I think it's a valid point. I don't think there's, like, when you look at the Vandy quarterback there, Diego Pavia. I don't think that was the case with him. Based on what I understand, he didn't get offers.
Right.
They didn't think he was good enough. So he went JUCO, New Mexico, Vandy. And he won a JUCO national title, if I'm not mistaken. Played well at New Mexico. Now he's at Vandy. He's an interesting cat. I mean, it's hard not to root for him. He's a cocky little SOB. I love him. I really do. I mean, he's 5'10",
right?
And he has a 6'5" attitude, and not just with the opponents, but with his own teammates. And, you know, I've started watching, they just put it out about a week ago, this SEC documentary on, it's called Any Given Saturday. And it's just following teams. You get a lot of insight with LSU. You get a lot of insight, and I think I've watched 3 or 4 of them, but you get a lot with him. And they had them losing to Missouri. They're in the room in the pregame speech before the Alabama game, and the coach getting them fired up to play that game that they end up winning. It was, you know, you can't help but like the kid, but I don't think he deserves to play 6 years.
I do think, though, an interesting discussion on its own is there is a negative connotation for many with JUCO. All right. And I do think that needs to go away for many reasons in the 2020s. First off, the high school athletes not being recruited anymore. And they're being put in a situation that past generations of athletes were not put in before. The high school athlete was heavily recruited before. Now, the Division I schools, they're recruiting the FCS schools. They're recruiting the lower level Division I schools. They're recruiting the JUCOs. They don't want to have to take a kid out of high school and spend 2-3 years putting weight on them and building them up, etc. No, they want players who could play yesterday. There are a lot of excellent high school athletes in all the sports who are very likely to not recruited nowadays because colleges have just gone in a different direction. So you could think about how expensive college is now. Say you get offered a half scholarship to a Division I school. Well, hell, I'll play a year or two at JUCO. You know how much money that is? Okay, I get the same credits. Okay, and then I'll tear it up 1 or 2 years, and guess what? I'll get a full scholarship offer, and I won't have to pay a dime. And hell, I might get a full scholarship offer and get NIL. So
All right, I want to challenge you. I'm not saying you're wrong, and I was trying to dig up information quickly. I don't believe that, well, first off, the 4-star kid is still getting recruited as heavily as ever. The 4 and 5 stars are all getting scholarships out of high school. All of them.
Okay.
I think you're talking about the 2-star guy. I don't even think you're talking about the 3-star guy. I mean, the schools are still bringing in 20-some freshmen a year. Now, they're losing as many kids each year as they're getting in the portal. But I don't think the numbers are that far off as far as freshmen on scholarships.
Oh, I think it's off tremendously. I think it's off by the thousands. In all the sport, I do.
Football, I don't care about. I honestly don't care about any other sport than football. I don't.
Okay, but I still don't think that they're recruiting the high school freshmen. I mean, yes, Mark, the 5-star will always get recruited, and for that matter, the 4-star will always get heavily recruited. Okay, but the 2 and 3 stars are not being recruited, and they're certainly not being recruited by the schools where you can not only get full scholarship but get NIL. I don't believe. I think that people are having to go the lower level route to start their athletic careers so much more nowadays than they did even 3 years ago.
I would want to dig on that. I don't
Okay.
have anything numbers. I'm not going to argue with something I just don't have
No,
facts.
no. And I could be wrong. I'm just going based off of the people I talk to. Okay, they're kids. All right. And they could have kids 3 years apart of similar ability. And what the one kid was being offered versus, those schools, they're not interested in developing my high school senior. They're going straight to the transfer portal, and they'll maybe get my kid 2 years down the road. So, but I am in agreement with you, though. See, to me, I think you get 5 years post high school. You get 5 years of playing a sport post high school. However and wherever you do it, I don't care. I don't care if you take 3 years off and start playing at 22 and you play from 22 to 26. I won't put an age requirement on it. I won't. I don't care if you play in your 30s. If you got eligibility, you got eligibility. But to me, you get 5 years post high school before professional leagues. 5. And if you play JUCO for a year, well, that's one of the 5. To me.
Okay. And you've been that way for a while. You've always thought, screw the red shirt. Everybody essentially gets a red shirt year, whether they play for 5 years or not.
Right.
And we all know the guys at the cream of the crop guys are never going to be there that long. They'll leave after 3 years and go pro if they can. But I understand that schools are rating other schools. But if you're talented, I still think kids coming out of high school are getting scholarships. And I don't think those numbers have dwindled to the level that you think that they have. I do know recruiting's different. That you're right. That, the Wisconsins of the world who maybe used to try to elevate the 2-star and, get that lineman and build him up and then make him something by the time he's a junior or senior, they may be more apt to go to a MAC school and just grab a kid after 2 years who's more ready to play.
Right. Like Dan Mullen's philosophy at Mississippi State. I don't know at a school like Mississippi State if you can do that anymore. Dan went after the 2 and 3 star kids. He knew for the most part he wasn't getting the 4 and 5 stars. He was going after the 2 and 3, and he was developing the out of them. And by the time they were upperclassmen, they essentially played at a 4-star level. And that's how Dan won his 8-9 games a year in Starkville. I don't know if you can do that anymore at a lower level SEC Big Ten school.
No, in my alma mater, D'Antonio was great at that for a lot of years. And now you bring that kid in and start developing him, and he's your backup guard as sophomore year. Well, Alabama calls and needs a guard. You lose that guy. If you're a lower level Power 4 school now, it's tough to keep your players.
I mean, D'Antonio with his Ohio and Pennsylvania connections, I mean, he did a great job of getting the quote second tier recruit in a lot of cases from Ohio and Pennsylvania. And 2 years in, they didn't play like a 2 and a 3-star. They were playing like 4 stars, and Smarty was winning 10 plus games a year.
No, and I've got a good friend that I've known my whole life. His son just committed to a D2 program. He's gotten some MAC offers and not anything great. He ended up just committing to Grand Valley State. And I told him, don't worry. If your kid's mauling kids at Grand Valley, trust me, the D1 programs are coming for him.
Quickly.
Yeah.
Might only wait a year, when in the past they'd wait 2 or 3. They might only wait a year now to come get you.
So it's certainly changed, but I do think there's still spots for that high school freshman or high school senior. It just may not be at the same schools that it was at.
But curious, I do think it could be a poll question. I know we're an hour or so late on it. I'm not sure how we phrase it, but I believe this is the 3rd Division I football player in the last year to go to court and argue you can't count the JUCO year against me like the year I just completed. They're not the same. Pavia won. I think the Rutgers linebacker won. And now for 2 weeks, the Indiana safety got an injunction. The matter will be settled once and for all before the opener. I think their opener is the 30th. The hearing is on the 27th. And the judge basically said, I don't think there's harm in letting the kid practice for 2 weeks before we settle this once and for all. I thought it actually was a reasonable, he was talking out loud and saying, does it hurt the kid to have him practice for 2 weeks? If we rule in his favor and he's been sitting on the sidelines, does that help him?
And if we rule against him, then it hurts the team maybe a little bit, but not that much.
Right. He's done.
But I'm with you. I'm fascinated by it because to me, a year of JUCO is a year of college.
Right.
And I know they're not, I'm not trying to get into the whole student athlete thing, but college is college. I have a tough one with that. And maybe your solution at the end of the day is the one that college football or college sports should look at, that we don't care about red shirts anymore. You get 5 years. I don't care if you played as a freshman or not. You got 5 years of eligibility.
Yeah, and unfortunately, if you're injury prone and 3 of those 5 you were injured, I'm sorry. I would do it. You know me. I like to do deals on a bar napkin, 10 minutes or less, shake on it. To me, let's simplify this. You get 5. You get 5. The NFL says, by the way, 3 years removed from high school. They don't say you have to play all 3 years. When we joke about the Ohio State receiver, if he was my son, he would never be on the field again. Never. Don't care. Never.
And it's been proven sitting out won't cost you your draft status. Sitting out in the pros, you want to miss a year, they can run you right out of the game. Ask Le'Veon Bell how that worked out for him.
But now I will say it costs you a ton of money nowadays to sit out the 2 years.
Well, that's the thing. What's he making at Ohio State?
Right.
I mean, you're costing yourself.
Right.
Now I don't think I have the same argument that I once did, because he's making millions.
Yes.
In these millions.
Right. When we used to say we'd send him to IMG to work out for 2 years. Yeah, IMG ain't paying him any money to come there and work out.
Bingo.
Right. He's making 7 figures for each of the next 2 years while still being bored. What am I doing here? Why am I playing college ball at Ohio State?
And how do you have this guy throwing that? This is what you've got at quarterback? We got a lot to find out about those Buckeyes quarterbacks, man. That Texas has an edge at QB just because Arch has played a few games. I think this guy's thrown 5 passes for the Buckeyes, and he's playing Texas in the first game. Wow. Miller and Moulton. We'll talk Dolphins with Chris Perkins next.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller and Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller and Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest, now try the best. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Rheem Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today. 433-4635.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Think we only fix windows? Think again. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business does so much more to upgrade your home. We custom build stunning shower and bath enclosures, install sleek glass doors and windows, and can bring fresh life to foggy or cracked panes. Need a glass tabletop or a statement mirror? Yep, we do that too. If it's glass and it's in your home, we're the team to call.
Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah!
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
This is Miller and Moulton.
What's up, Chris?
What's up, Mark? How you doing?
I'm well, man. How about you?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Just watching these reports from the Dolphins yesterday come in. And
So you didn't go to
butt
Detroit?
kicked.
You didn't go to the practice up in Detroit?
No, I'm here. David Furones is up there, so he
Gotcha.
did both of them.
Yeah, I kind of laughed when I had fun just because, Detroit's was Dan Campbell made his comments worried about the team's toughness, so they brought in the Dolphins to prove it, I guess.
Right, exactly. That's the pick me up you need when you got questions. Just bring in the Dolphins. Yeah, you'll feel tough.
I'm glad Chop's not hurt more than that, though. I mean, I don't know, but that was when I saw that yesterday. I went, oh, that can't happen because that's their area of strength.
Right. Those edge rushers and the front seven, man, they need those guys to be
badly.
Yeah, they are borderline dominant. I mean, they need them to be good, but they need them borderline dominant because I've just got no faith in those corners.
Yeah, I don't know how. I mean, I don't know how they win as many games as last year if that front seven isn't just dominant.
Right.
Because I don't see all the avenues for them to win. I just don't.
Right. No, I agree. What's up, Dave? I think unfortunately it looks like they're the same team from the standpoint of Tua to Tyreek, and the run game can't really carry you. It's there, but it doesn't win for you. Unfortunately, with Madison out, that's a big
Right.
loss.
That's a huge loss.
Yep.
That is a huge loss.
Do you think
Yeah. He was having a good camp, man. Him and Willie Gay. Tua's been having a good camp, but you expect that of the kind of surprise or unknown guys first year. Madison and Willie Gay were doing very well.
Do you think they would have brought Jeff Wilson back, but literally like 4 hours before the Madison injury, he got picked up?
I don't think so. I think they're done with Raheem and Jeff Wilson, that kind of old reach back, because neither of them really gave them what they wanted. I was surprised they didn't go with another power guy. I know Jamal Williams is, he's kind of done, but man, you need to replace that element that Madison brought. Like that's what gave hope to the run game. I thought that he was something different. Like Jalen Wright is more speed, and we'll see what Ollie Gordon can do, but man, they need that element, that power. And so hopefully, Austin Jackson and Alec Ingold get back. Speaking of the run game, they need those two for some physicality and for some talent.
Hey, how's that Darren Waller look?
Yeah, great signing, right? That's they might as well bring OBJ and Shaq Barrett back, huh?
Might as well just sit there, have a fire, and burn that $5 million, $6 million bucks.
I mean,
how's the guard from Pittsburgh looking?
What's that?
How's the guard they brought in from Pittsburgh?
Oh, James Daniels. He's okay. He's been okay. Him and Jonah have been okay. I've got no big complaints about them. They to me, it was more of a running back thing than a guard thing to me. You got rid of Chris Brooks. He went up to Green Bay and scored on you last year. So, they just, that's why the Madison injury hurt so much to me. He brought a kind of an attitude along with his skill set. But yeah, Daniels has been okay.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
We are halfway home in the 239 and the 904. It's the final hour of the show in Lake City, Live Oak and surrounding areas, Port Charlotte, Venice and surrounding areas. Thanks so much for being with us. We are Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Chris Perkins is kind enough to check in and carve out some time for us to talk some Dolphins during the scrimmages in the preseason. Chris, Sun Sentinel, sun-sentinel.com, and follow him on X at Chris Perk, P-E-R-K. First off, how you doing? How's camp for you? Okay, you nursing any injuries? Are you day-to-day? How you doing?
No, I played myself into shape. I'm ahead of Darren Waller, so everything is good for me. A shot right away, baby.
Man, oh, man.
Obviously, we've talked already in this camp. We've the injuries at running back. We've had some injuries on the offensive line. But, man, yesterday when I saw Chop Robinson getting taken off on a cart, my heart sank a little bit for Dolphin fan, because if they're going to be good, if they're going to exceed the three of our expectations, that front seven has to be dominant. And fortunately, it doesn't sound like it's a big deal for Chop. I thought that was a big break for the Dolphins, because that's the strength of their team, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. You get that trio of edge rushers: Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips, and Chop Robinson. And Chop is the healthy one, right? He's the young guy, the guy who has played the last couple of years. Last year with the Dolphins, and before that with Penn State. And you can't say that for Chubb and Phillips. So, and it's been a strange kind of an off season for these injuries. We saw Landon Dickerson, the guard for Philly, went off on a cart, and it's cartilage damage. We saw D. Eskridge of the Dolphins go off on a cart. It was leg cramps. We saw Kader Kohu walk off the field, and he's got a season-ending knee injury. So you didn't know what to think with Chop going off on a cart. Is this serious? Is this not serious? We've seen it all kinds of ways. And fortunately, it's Chop said on Instagram yesterday, I'm good. So, we're going on that. I'm here in Miami. Mike McDaniel will speak at 9:45 a.m. So we'll see what he has to say about Chop, but fingers crossed, hopefully Chop's diagnosis is the right one.
Listen, if you look at the Dolphins as the glass half empty, it's real easy to hear comments from an opposing player that are a little derogatory about your team and have you agree with them and think that, yep, here we go, same old, same old.
Yeah.
What are we to make of what the some Bears players and Lions players have said, which is basically that the Dolphins are soft?
Listen, that's the read on the Dolphins, right? From the outside, we heard Jordan Poyer say it before he got here last year that if you punch the Dolphins in the mouth, they'll fold. We heard Jordan Brooks say it after the Green Bay game, right? That he thought that the Dolphins played soft, that the weather made them not want to tackle. We've heard this allegation. We heard Deshaun Elliott make reference to it last season when he was with Pittsburgh. He said something along the lines of it's good to be on a tough team or whatever it was that he said. And the Dolphins played down to that level, both against Chicago and against Detroit. Unfortunately, they've got to pick up their physicality. They've got to show that they're not that team that people are now saying that they are. This kind of narrative is really starting to pick up steam and it's starting to stick. And they had an opportunity to knock it down against Chicago. They didn't. Had an opportunity to knock it down in that first practice yesterday with Detroit. They didn't. They've had opportunities in the whole Mike McDaniel era to knock it down, and they haven't. And so it's only going to grow and grow and grow. They've got to bring it against Detroit today. And I know that they've got some key injuries with Austin Jackson and Alec Ingold and Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Excuses. Physicality is a thread that runs through your team. So even if you aren't winning in these one-on-ones and 11-on-11s, be physical, show some toughness, and that's what you want from the Dolphins, and that's what they've been lacking for the whole Mike McDaniel era.
I listened to an interview with Nick Sirianni yesterday, and he talked about his 3 traits that he wants his team to have. And then he said something to me that I thought was important. He said, it's the job then of the players and all of us to do them, but I have to live by that mantra. If I don't live by that mantra, then I'm a fraud and the team's never going to follow me. And I bring that up because McDaniel this year has tried to reinvent himself, that he's going to establish this toughness. He's going to make guys accountable. Has he done so? Because if you're going to walk the walk, well, then you got to make guys accountable and penalize them for not being accountable, because if not, then he's a fraud and they'll walk away from this new style quickly. Has he lived up to what he said he's going to do for this team so far?
He's trying to live up to it, and I think that series against Chicago down at the goal line kind of showed it, right? That is the kind of walk the walk type of thing, that we're not throwing into the end zone. We're going to try to run it in. And here we go. Now, it didn't work, but I like the attitude. I like the mentality. We don't know about player discipline. We don't know if anybody has been late to practices or team meetings or anything like that. Well, we haven't seen anybody show up late to practice. We don't know about team meetings and whether he said last year that when players were late, fines didn't work. So he's got to find something new. We don't know if that's been tested, but as far as the on-field product, we had seen signs of that. They did get the guards, Jonas Savaiinaya, James Daniels, Alexander Madison, the running back, is a big loss because he was a guy who provided some of that physicality. You thought Nick Westbrook-Akine, the big wide receiver, 6'2", 211, coming from Tennessee, red zone threat. We thought he would add some physicality. He hasn't yet. They haven't really called plays for him in the red zone yet. But we did kind of see it with that, first and goal from the 8-yard line or whatever it was against Chicago. Hopefully we see more of that. Hopefully we see more runs up the middle on first and second down, not just those predictable third and short, fourth and short runs. If you're going to talk the talk, walk the walk, and let's see some physical runs on first and second down, first, second, and third quarter all throughout the game, that's when I'll be convinced that Mike McDaniel is living it.
Chris Perkins of the South Florida Sun Sentinel, sun-sentinel.com. You can follow him on X at Chris Perk, P-E-R-K. Chris and all our guests joining us on the American Paint Supplies Hotline, your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. Can we end this Tyreek Hill getting traded at any point this year discussion now? Can we send out a memorandum to the national media? Isn't the cap hit if Tyreek Hill is not a Dolphin this year for anything other than a violation of the clause in his contract, which allows the Dolphins to not pay him? Isn't it staggering? Isn't it like $53 million if he's not a Dolphin this year? That he is like Kirk Cousins is anchored to Atlanta because it's a staggering cap hit to trade him this year. Isn't it the same with Tyreek?
Well, Tyreek is a guy that, it's different this year, I think, because what teams are really looking at is the trade deadline is November 5th. And I don't know what week that is, week 9, week 10. I think the whole thing is if the Dolphins have 3 or 4 wins and there's no way they're going to make the playoffs and they would like to get something for Tyreek, well, that's when teams would pounce. And that's when you would work out something, compensation wise. And they did it with Jalen Ramsey that they pay. Well, they actually end up paying like $2 million of Jalen's salary. So you kind of meet a team halfway. I do think that early in the season, the trade Tyreek talk is dead. But if around that trade deadline, if this has been a disappointing season, especially if Mike McDaniel has been fired or there's been a major shakeup, if Tua is injured, that talk might be legit. And a contender might say, let's roll the dice on Tyreek. He can get us over the top. But just under normal circumstances, if the Dolphins are 500-ish by the trade deadline or whatever, I think Tyreek stays.
All right. My bad. For the record, his cap hit this year is like 28. Okay.
Yeah.
Next year. I mean, the reason we all think he won't be on the team next year is right now his cap hit's 52 for next year. But his cap hit for this year is 28 million.
Yeah. And you can keep him, but still, look, Tyreek is a guy who can help out a contender. And so I think that's really what the talk is.
I just wanted to correct my mistake. I thought it was higher and it's 28.
Yep.
All right.
Manageable.
Tyreek does make the offense go. When it's Tua to Tyreek, this is how this offense has worked at its best.
Right.
Who needs to step up in this offense? We don't know what's going to happen with Waller. You've already talked about the running back situation. Is this the year that Waddle's really got to be a 1A for this team to go?
I think they've got to get a running back to step up. And we know what Achane can do. He had 1,499 yards from scrimmage, but Alexander Madison was kind of that power threat. Tyreek talked about it earlier this summer in training camp when he said, look, they're stopping us at the line of scrimmage, and then we have that too high safety look because teams know that we're not a running team, that if they shut down the passing game, if they devote all their resources to stopping him and then him and Tyreek, him and Jalen Waddle, that this team can't score. I mean, you had Jonnu Smith sets a franchise record for tight ends last year, and you have an 8-9 record. There's no other way, the way that this team is constructed right now, for them to win, other than, like you said, Tua to Tyreek. You've got to get a run game. You've got to be physical. You've got to make these other teams respect you running the ball. Make them drop that 8th man in the box. Make them really worry that you're going to beat them with the run. And I'll tell you this again, that Buffalo has beaten them 6 straight games, right? They're 1-6 against Buffalo in the Mike McDaniel era. Neither Tyreek Hill nor Jalen Waddle has a 100-yard receiving game against Buffalo in the last 2 years. In that span, the Dolphins have rushed for 100 yards all 4 games against Buffalo. They've lost all 4. Really, the run game at this point, all it's doing is keeping the ball away from Tyreek, and teams want that. So you've got to establish a run game that is a threat, that makes the defense respect your run game, that can win games for you. That Alexander Madison loss is huge right now.
Chris Perkins is committed to joining us weekly on Wednesdays throughout the season. He was kind enough to join us just now. Chris, we'll catch up by Final Cuts, and safe travels. Thanks for everything.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Chris Perkins,
I'll give him the orange jersey. I'll give him the orange jersey for today. I think he earned it, David. I think he gets the orange jersey. It was that good.
He's definitely ahead of Waller on the depth chart. I don't see how Waller's going to jump in front of him on the depth chart. I don't see it happening. I really don't.
As long as I don't go off this show on a card, I think I'm okay, right?
I still think you're ahead of Darren Waller, even on the cart. Chris Perkins, sun-sentinel.com. Follow him on X at Chris Perk, P-E-R-K. Chris Perkins joining us on Miller and Moulton.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122. or nolanagency.com.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from that fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I will say, David, the food smell affects all ages. I stopped and got a meatball sub because my daughter went right to gymnastics from school. And I had my half in the parking lot waiting for her to get out of school. I'm like, you hungry? I got a meatball sub for you here. She's like, no, I think I'm good. And we're 2 minutes into the drive. She's like, Dad, that smells too good. Just give that back to me. Then we went home. I picked her up after gymnastics. She was, Dad, your car still smells like a meatball sub. And I'm thinking, that's a glorious thing. And David, just so you know, if you click the comments button on the right, you'll just have us on screen. Whatever thing you have, if you just click that button again, it just puts us on screen. And that's what I do every segment now.
Okay.
Ooh, David Sampson has Andre Dawson on today.
Oh. Sean Dunston did a lengthy interview on MLB Network Radio talking about the impact of Ryan Sandberg. And then he got into it, and a couple years later, Andre Dawson joined our team. And he was like, wow, the influence that Sandberg and Dawson have on a young player.
Yeah, I can see that.
And he just talked about Sandberg, by the way. Dunston said, I'm young and life is fun and this, that, and the other thing. And about an hour before the game, Sandberg and Dawson would turn the music down. And Dunston was like, what's going on? And Sandberg's like, it's time to get in the right frame of mind. It's time to think about the pitcher and what he's going to do to try to get you out and what it is we're trying to do to win the game. And Dunston said that the most remarkable thing about Ryan Sandberg was that he never, ever held himself in an aura of how great he was, that he was such a calm and regular guy. And that there were times we had to remind him, dude, you're Ryan Sandberg. You're like, okay, that he was just totally a regular dude, but he was serious.
And oh God, is it Vernon Maxwell? Is that the basketball player I'm thinking of that played for Houston?
Mm-hmm.
David, he did it. And first off, he curses more than any human I've ever heard in my life. But the clips I'm seeing on the shorts of him in this interview talking about people, how hard he drank. Like he's the only guy I went to bed for when we were playing Michael. Other than that, I'd be out till 5 a.m. every night.
I tell you what, Vernon Maxwell and JR, Isaiah Ryder on podcasts are gold.
Oh
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks to Chris Perkins from the Sun Sentinel for joining us here on Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Andrew Moore from Sports Illustrated. He covers the Colts. He will join us in a little more than 15 minutes time. Our poll question is a simple one. Yesterday, we took the SEC teams ranked in the preseason top 10 and say which one of those four do you think will win the SEC? You guys voted Georgia close over Texas. Well, there are three consensus top 10 Big Ten teams. Penn State, Ohio State, Oregon. Not necessarily in that order, depending on the poll. And we threw in other just for the heck of it. If you're going to ride the Illinois, Michigan, Indiana wagon, predicted to be the next three in the Big Ten. But who do you think is going to win the Big Ten this year?
So that's our poll question. We've had two a lot of days recently, one sports, one non-sports. And probably I saw this article this morning and kind of just dismissed it because I was looking at other stuff that actually had something to do with the show. And I probably could have gone here with the non-sports question. Did you see the numbers that were reported on Americans' consumption of alcohol?
No.
We are drinking less than ever before. The lowest number of Americans consuming alcohol is now 54%. That's the lowest number since they've been tracking this since I think 1939. The Gallup poll says 54% of Americans, and I'm guessing that's Americans of drinking age, are drinking alcohol. The highest that it ever was between 74 and 81, when 68 to 71% of Americans were drinking. And the big reason for that, apparently, is the Gen Z crowd, that they're not drinking at all, that they're not drinking alcohol the way previous generations did. A lot of it that they don't go to bars at the way they used to. Now they do their mingling online. Whether it's playing video games or online chat communities or whatever the case may be, they don't go out as much. They find it. There's been so many studies of alcohol consumption and health problems. That never bothered us before. It seemed that all of those health problems were there 20 years ago, and it didn't stop us from drinking. But we are drinking at a lower rate than ever before.
So they are basically blaming it on technology? That
Not so much technology, a different thought process of Gen Zers of what they're doing, but more importantly, health. That not just the Gen Zers, but the millennials and the Gen Xers like us are drinking less than we used to. And they think it's because there's more information out there about the negative health effects of drinking alcohol.
I wonder if it's the cost. Also, just wonder. But okay, as an Irish Catholic who was raised that a drink was not necessarily the worst thing in the world. Obviously, to excess it is. That's interesting.
Women down more than men. Women are down 11%. Men are down 5%. But young adults are less likely to drink alcohol than a decade ago. My son's of that age. He goes out. He drinks beer. He's not that much different than the old man. He's just a lot smarter about it because, well, they have Uber now.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X.
And we did get a texter. It says, is that because kids like weed more than they like alcohol? Weed's far more readily available, legal in a lot of states.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. That was not a situation that was prevalent for us. Okay. It was not legal for us in a lot of places where
I was going to say it was pretty prevalent where I was.
No. It was prevalent. It just wasn't legally prevalent.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Just saying. But that's part of it.
I asked you a question off air yesterday. If you were Keegan Bradley, is there certain people that you would have already called and said, listen, I'm not going to pick you for the team? Like, do you call Spieth? Okay. Is Goddard now off the list? All right. He had a hot month. He's had a slow couple weeks since. I'm just curious, are there Wyndham Clark? He didn't make the, top 50 of the FedEx. I don't care that you're 17th or whatever you are on the points list. I can't pick you. Okay. I'm just wondering, do you make those calls or do you never make those calls?
I'd never make them. I would make them if I didn't have 74 vice captains. I mean, they have 5 vice captains, right?
They do.
It's ridiculous. Now, if it were just the captain, if Keegan was there and maybe he had 1 or 2 vice captains, and of the guys I would call, the only one I might call is Jordan Spieth. And not necessarily to tell him he's not on the team, but to pick his brain about the last Ryder Cup and the players, what he thought about the other Americans that are going to be on the team or possibly that are up for debate on the team, what he saw of them maybe. Somebody that was there 2 years ago that they could lean on to at least talk to about the players that he's deciding on. What is it about Ben Griffin that you think makes him a good Ryder Cup player or a bad Ryder Cup player? You know what I'm getting at. But Keegan's on that tour. He should know all these guys and their style. So I don't know if Keegan Bradley needs to make those calls. Not to mention, he has enough vice captains. I mean, it's either 4 or 5 vice captains. They got enough brains on this. Don't know if they'll pick the right guys, but they certainly have enough people to.
Miller and Moulton. Wonder if that's a poll question tomorrow. We haven't asked that, right? Should Keegan pick himself? Yes or no?
I would, yeah. I mean, this is the last one, so we might have to throw
Right.
that up there tomorrow.
Because Monday's too late. It could already be out. I mean, they may save the official announcement till after our show Monday, but it's usually pretty early on Monday that they announce the team. So, I'm wondering if tomorrow maybe is a throw it out there. If you're Keegan, you're 10th in points. I mean, there's so many different ways to look at it. He said he wasn't going to pick himself unless he automatically qualified. But seemingly everyone is lobbying for him to pick himself. And also, think about it. He thought he should have been on the team 2 years ago when he was 11th. How could he think he shouldn't be on the team this year at 10?
Well, and to your point, I know he said he was only going to play if he was on, but of the guys that are behind him, Maverick McNeely, Andrew Novak, Brian Harmon, Cameron Young, Cantlay, Sam Burns, which of those guys is playing so lights out that you take yourself off the team?
Cam Young.
Okay.
All right. That's so there's one. It's like I think the top 9 is locked in on the points. Okay, because the 9th place guys actually had a bunch of impressive showings, including a top 10 last week.
And he's 12 for what it's worth. And I'm not exactly, I know the points relate to money and finishes and all that, but Ben Griffin is less than 600 or a little more than 600 points away from the 8 spot. He's 1,200 points ahead of Keegan Bradley for the 10 spot. So there is clearly a line after 9 where the rest of these guys are a little closer. But okay, so you're going to take Cam Young, and I'm with you on that one. By the way, I think Cam Young's playing well. But
so then that's 10. Okay, if we just push Keegan aside, that's 10. We got 2 spots left. Remember, where's Sam Burns on the list?
He's now 16, David.
Right, he's Scheffler's best friend. Does that enter into it at all?
It did before the way he played last week.
Okay, all right,
and it still may.
Patrick Cantlay. Harmon and Cantlay to me are the two that is Keegan going to pick one or both of them instead of himself. Miller and Moulton, Andrew Moore next.
Think we only fix windows? Think again. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business does so much more to upgrade your home. We custom build stunning shower and bath enclosures, install sleek glass doors and windows, and can bring fresh life to foggy or cracked panes. Need a glass tabletop or a statement mirror? Yep, we do that too. If it's glass and it's in your home, we're the team to call.
Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah!
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Mark, I would argue I don't know if it's better for you, and I've got no problem with weed at all. Trust me. But I don't know if, maybe eating it, but vaping it or smoking it, I think present a whole nother array of problems. And I'm a weed advocate. But I do agree with you that more kids are smoking pot than ever before. There's no doubt there.
And Jay Yandel had me think about my mom's mom, my grandmother. She made the best lemon meringue pie. The best. I never tasted a lemon meringue pie that was in the area code of hers. I don't know. Do they make those at Dolly's?
Does Dolly make lemon meringue? I don't know. I've never ordered it because the only person I know that liked lemon meringue was my dad. That was his favorite pie. And I think they do. But my wife likes a mixed berry pie, and they make one there, so I will every once in a while go get a mixed berry pie for her. But I've never looked to see if they have a lemon meringue.
And I will say, I'm mostly an apple pie guy, and their apple pie is tremendous.
All right.
So Perkins does lemon meringue?
He's on. He on. I do like the publication that Sammy's with, the Hoosier Huddle.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Sammy Jacobs, part of HoosierHuddle.com, will join us to talk about Hoosier safety Lewis Moore getting an injunction yesterday, continuing his college career for at least 2 weeks, if not a whole other year. And that argument, which is gaining steam, that a JUCO year does not equate to a Division I year, therefore eligibility rules should not be the same. We stick in Indiana and talk Colts with Andrew Moore. He covers them for Sports Illustrated. Follow Andrew on X at Andrew Moore, Moore NFL. Andrew Moore, NFL. Andrew, it's David and Mark. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Should Anthony Richardson stop talking? Is he hurting himself in the locker room and with the team as much as yahoos like Miller and Moulton are laughing at some of what he's been saying?
No, I don't think so. I think this locker room is fully behind Anthony Richardson. Multiple leaders on the team have come out and said that this is the best camp that Anthony Richardson has had in his 3 years. They've been really impressed with ever since the benching, how seriously he's taken the job and trying to show that he can be a franchise quarterback behind the scenes. Quentin Nelson just told us last week that he's been very impressed with Anthony's improvement. DeForest Buckner has said that as well. This locker room really is behind Anthony Richardson. They've seen the competition bring out the best in him, which I think is what the Colts really wanted to see. Now, I don't think he's won the competition just yet. This competition is still quite close, but the Colts are very happy with what they've seen from Anthony Richardson and how seriously he is taking this and the growth that he's made this offseason.
Well, describe that growth, if you will, a little bit, because the one comment I saw him make was something along the lines that I'm going to be a guru of this offense this year. And to me, I'm like, it's year 3. It's the same offense. It's taking you that long to learn it. That scared the hell out of me. So where has the growth been, in your opinion, for Richardson?
Really, the growth, I think, has been in his short to intermediate accuracy. That's where he focused all off season, working with his personal trainers down in Jacksonville, throwing with touch, because as such a big quarterback, he really never learned how to throw with touch. And that's something that he struggled with in the NFL. And he's admitted that he needed to really rebuild his mechanics from the ground up. His base looks much better. The throws on the short to intermediate routes are much more accurate so far in camp. A lot of times in the previous 2 seasons, he would throw behind guys or he would throw too high. And, I would say he's not perfect by any means. I'm not going to act like Anthony Richardson is going to be the MVP this year, but you can see the strides that he's made. Now, doing it on the practice field and then doing it in a live game situation is completely different. We're going to have to see if he's able to do that and if he's able to stay healthy, first of all, to even be able to try to do that. But all the strides that he's shown in camp, especially in that short to intermediate areas where he has struggled really throughout the course of not only just in the NFL, but going back to his days in Florida. So far, Anthony Richardson has shown progress there. I think there's still plenty of more progress to be made, obviously, but you can see the strides that he's made since we last saw him at the end of 2024.
I get the feeling that you believe he is still number 1 on the depth chart. It's not a fully 50-50 competition. When you're the champion of a weight division, somebody's got to really beat you to take your crown away. Is that kind of the feeling you have? It's his job to lose, and he certainly hasn't lost it.
I think going into this offseason, I think the Colts want Anthony Richardson to win this competition. Otherwise, it's a bad look for Chris Ballard, who drafted him. It's a bad look for Shane Steichen, who drafted him. The Colts want Anthony Richardson to succeed, but they're not just giving him this competition. They're giving him every opportunity to go out there and win this competition. But I think going into training camp, my thoughts were that Daniel Jones would have to really outperform Anthony Richardson to take the quarterback spot away, and he hasn't done that. They've been close at times. Daniel Jones has certainly won some days in camp, but Anthony Richardson has won quite a few days in camp. I do think that play against the Baltimore Ravens, where Anthony Richardson just completely misdiagnosed where the blitz was coming from, ended up getting injured on that play, I think that did open some eyes a little bit, and I think that has made the competition tighter than it was last week. So I really think that today they have a joint practice with the Green Bay Packers, and then on Saturday when they play in that preseason game, I think those 2 outings are going to be huge to determine who actually is going to be starting week 1, whether it is Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones. Right now, I'd probably give that slight advantage to Anthony Richardson, but by no means does he have this thing locked up.
Tyler Warren was special on Saturdays. Some people worried that he maybe wasn't fast enough on Sundays to get open. What have you seen out of the rookie tight end, and what are you expecting of him this year?
Tyler Warren's going to be a problem for NFL defenses this year. He has been lighting it up in training camp, making highlight plays seemingly every day. The Colts are moving him around a lot. They're putting him in the slot. They're putting him in line. There's been days where he's lined up in the backfield as well. The Colts really haven't had this threat at tight end in a long time, where it's a guy that controls the middle of the field, demands attention on every single play. And I think, as we saw early against the Ravens last week, whether it was Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones, they targeted him early and often. He's been tough to guard, and I think the Colts are really going to use Tyler Warren a lot this year. Wouldn't surprise me if he leads all rookie tight ends in receptions, in yards, and touchdowns. I think he's going to have a much bigger role in this offense than even us that cover the team day to day originally thought.
Andrew Moore, he covers the Colts for Sports Illustrated, SI.com. Follow Andrew on X at Andrew Moore with an E on the end, Moore, Andrew Moore, NFL. Andrew Moore, NFL. 17-17 over the last 2 years. With the quarterback play that the Colts have had, I actually think it shows that they've got a pretty darn good coach. How about the rest of the roster, though? Is the roster catching up? And is this a playoff roster finally?
I think that the roster is worthy of a playoff spot. The Colts did a lot of work this offseason in the secondary. Chris Ballard was much more aggressive in free agency, signing Charvarius Ward, Cam Bynum to big contracts, and they've been everything that the Colts have expected and more. Cam Bynum has been really the brains of the defense, making sure everyone gets lined up. Charvarius Ward looks rejuvenized and ready to prove the doubters wrong after a down year in San Francisco last year where admittedly, he was dealing with a lot of personal struggles and that personal tragedy. But the secondary looks a lot better. Granted, they are going through some injuries. Justin Wally, the rookie third-round pick, tore his ACL last week. Kenny Moore's a little bit banged up, but the Colts are hopeful that that's going to fix itself. Latu is looking for a big year too. So I think the defense under Lou Anarumo is going to be much improved. The offense here, obviously, we talked about Tyler Warren. Jonathan Taylor is healthy. Michael Pittman and Josh Downs are back. Pittman is healthy. The offensive line has a couple of new starters on it, but so far those guys have been able to hold their own. Third-round pick in 2024, Matt Gonzalez at right guard, and Tanner Bortolini out of Wisconsin at that center spot. But it's going to hinge on the quarterback. If they can get just average quarterback play, I think this team can sneak into the wild card. If they get more than average quarterback play, then I fully believe that they could compete with Houston for the division title.
Well, we think it's the division that is the most vulnerable to get a wild card team because obviously there's a lot of teams that you look at. Tennessee, they struggled last year. Jacksonville struggled last year. Indianapolis with 8 wins, not a winning record. So I like where you're thinking with that. And you look at how the season starts. They open with Miami, 2 teams that won 8 games. In Miami's case, if they don't make the playoffs, it could be an entire regime change. I don't know if that's the same case in Indianapolis, but right off the hop, this is a game to me. If you're right about the Colts being a wild card team, then they're going to win the home opener against Miami, right?
You would have to think so. I mean, I don't cover Miami as close as you guys, but it seems like they have taken a step back. There's been some issues down there. But, I mean, again, it's going to hinge on that quarterback spot. Are they going to get a big game out of Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones? Or are we going to see the Miami defense really confuse them and frustrate them and force them into turnovers? The Colts haven't won a week 1 game since 2014. So that's still hanging over the head of this franchise, and it's not going to go away until they go out there and do it. But they're going to be at home against a Miami team that, as you mentioned, didn't make the playoffs last year. They were 8-9 just like the Colts. I think it's going to be a tightly contested game, and if the Colts really want to prove that they are on the way to turning this thing around and getting back into the playoffs for the first time since 2020, I think they're going to have to go out there and beat the Miami Dolphins.
Andrew, has Carly Gordon done or said anything that indicates that things are going to be different from how her dad thought and ran the franchise? Has she done or said anything at all, or right now is, it an empty book?
I think we're still in wait and see. I don't think that it's going to be drastically different. I think Carly has grown up in the organization. Her and her sisters, Casey and Kaylin, they've been around the Colts since they were kids, and they've worked in the organization for the past 15 years. I think a lot of people that don't follow the the Colts closely don't realize that they have been in the organization and working in roles in the organization for a long time. So they understand how this thing works. I think that the new expectations, though, Carly has said that it hasn't been good enough, and they don't want to just win games. They don't want to just be in the playoffs. They want to be the best. And I think that the standards have risen in Indianapolis. So the pressure is certainly on for Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen to turn this thing around, for Anthony Richardson to turn this thing around. Carly has come out and said that they still believe in Anthony Richardson and there's still time for him to turn it around. And that with his ability, he has all the ability in the world, that if he wants to go out there and be the franchise quarterback, he can certainly do that. So this is a big year for the Indianapolis Colts, because if they miss the playoffs again and Anthony Richardson doesn't prove that he can be the franchise quarterback moving forward, we may see a regime change, and we may see the Indianapolis Colts blow it up and try to start over.
I think we did it with Tua a couple of years ago and just put the over-under on games that he plays. If Anthony Richardson plays in 14-plus games, I think that's the biggest step for him is staying healthy. Leaving the quarterback off the table for this question, what's the weakest area for the Colts heading into the 2025 season?
I would say it's probably the linebacker group. The Colts really didn't do anything to address linebacker this offseason, and their two starters, Zaire Franklin and Jalen Carlisle, have been banged up. Now, Zaire Franklin is back from that ankle surgery that he had in the offseason, and he's been impressive in his 11-on-11 work. But Jalen Carlisle is now dealing again with an ankle injury. So the linebacker depth is certainly going to be questioned, especially against the run. They've shown that they can handle against the pass. Joe Bocci, a guy that played in Cincinnati with Lou Anarumo for a number of years, he's come over and he's been really impressive. But it's going to be interesting to see how this Colts team does against the run, especially at that linebacker group. And then I would say that with just the injuries to the secondary, that's certainly another position to watch too, and where potential issues could come if these guys can't get back healthy and then stay healthy throughout the regular season.
Andrew Moore, he covers the Colts for Sports Illustrated, SI.com. Follow him on X at Andrew Moore NFL. Andrew Moore, MMOORE NFL. Andrew, thanks for doing this. Safe travels throughout the preseason, and hopefully we can talk early in the season.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Andrew Moore, Sports Illustrated, Andrew Moore, NFL, joining us on the American Paint Supplies Hotline, your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
That's a fascinating opener. You know, when you talk to him, he's like, hey, this team, if they get any kind of quarterback play, I think they're a wild card team. And if you're the Miami Dolphins and you don't beat the Colts week 1, and I know it's a road game, but where are you?
Well, how about that stat? I mean, that's got to be the Dan Patrick Show stat of the day. Colts have lost 10 straight openers.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
That's hard to do.
Yes. I mean, because there's many.
The Twins beat the Yankees yesterday.
Right. I mean, I remember George Seifert at a Carolina team that went 1-15. They won week 1. I mean, 10 straight openers they've lost, which, by the way, think about how easy that story is to write if you cover the Dolphins for a living and they lose week 1. How bad is it going to be in Miami? Well, they just lost week 1 to the Colts. Okay, you're not alarmed? The Colts hadn't won week 1 since 2014.
And these are two teams that both think, I don't know whether you think it, David, or our audience, that they're going to be playoff teams, but they both have playoff expectations. So there's a lot riding on that. Kind of like the other team on Saturdays. Hasn't LSU lost 5 openers in a row?
Yes.
And they open at Clemson?
Well, and I have to admit, okay, LSU is not scheduling themselves a win. But, yeah, the Colts have got to be getting a W.
Shoeless Joe Sports Cafe is where your fantasy football draft should be. Free private rooms, Wi-Fi, plus food and drink specials. In August, Shoeless has bingo and trivia Tuesdays and Thursdays with your chance to win free wings and beer for a year. Fridays, live music on the deck. Saturdays, karaoke on the deck. Plus daily meal specials like Wednesdays, $6 wings and half-price pizza. Watch all your baseball and football at Shoeless Joe's, your home for good food, good times, and good sports in the Bell Tower Shops, Fort Myers.
Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Rheem Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
Defining a new era in men's health. Get stronger and healthier at Game Day Men's Health. With our in-house laboratory, get in, get treated, and get back to your passion and purpose. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs or Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for a 10% discount on your service. Start living your best with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples. Call 239-427-3441 today.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floormeisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floormeisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floormeisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or NolanAgency.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Yeah, I'm with you, JDR Blue. I'm guessing that, but they had to get people to agree to do it. They're puff pieces in that they're not negative on anyone, but you do get a lot of insight. I think that, they don't go hard hitting, but you do get a lot of behind the scenes stuff that I don't think you're going to get anywhere else.
See where the Big 12 said they're going to come out and basically have injury reports?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Who's the other conference that said that? Somebody else had said
Was
that.
it the American? I don't think it was a Power Four. I thought the Big 12 was the only one of the Power Four that said it. Now, it says that they're the last conference to do it, that the Big Ten started doing it in 2023, the SEC in 2024, and the ACC issues public availability reports 48 hours before all conference games. I don't think they do.
Hell, we still have trouble getting depth charts from teams 24 hours before a broadcast.
Right. All right, let me call this guy. Sammy is on.
Nice.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour on this Thursday. Thanks so much for being with us. 9 days away from week 0 of the college football season, 14 days away to that Thursday night heading in to Labor Day weekend, where there are 16 games on the docket. And 3 weeks tonight, 21 days away, the Eagles hosting the Cowboys. Sammy Jacobs is publisher of HoosierHuddle.com, HoosierHuddle.com, and he joins us now to talk about a story that we have mentioned 2 or 3 times this morning. Indiana safety Lewis Moore suing the NCAA, looking for more eligibility because JUCO years should not count as Division I years. He got a court order yesterday giving him 2 more weeks to practice before they settle this once and for all. All right, Sammy, it's David and Mark. Thanks for your time. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on, guys. How are you?
Well, we are fine. Remember, HoosierHuddle.com, and you can follow that site on X at Hoosier_Huddle. Has this been a big story / distraction at all this month before yesterday?
I wouldn't call it a distraction before yesterday. I think it's been in the back of people's minds a little bit with Lou Marks. It's always been there that, hey, he needs a waiver to get that year back. It was almost silently understood that he would. But, yeah, it's become a bigger story now that it was announced that he is suing the NCAA. And then yesterday was the first hurdle for him to clear. He got a temporary restraining order, which it doesn't make him eligible for the season, but it just kicks the can down the road for another 2 weeks. And they'll have a formal hearing on the 27th, which should, determine whether or not Lou could play in the 2025 season, unless they come to an agreement in mediation here in the next 2 weeks. But, if you know any legal case, mediation, they always recommend mediation, and it, almost certainly turns out like that scene in Wedding Crashers where, the two divorced people are just yelling at each other and never come to agreement. But they always want to send it to mediation first and see if they could hash it out themselves before getting, a hearing involved where you call witnesses, and it gets super expensive for a normal person.
One of the things that we're having trouble understanding is that the 3 years that this guy was playing JUCO, NIL didn't exist. So how can he try to recoup money that wasn't available at that time?
Well, I think he's trying to recoup the money he would earn this year, because if he is ruled ineligible, his college football career is over. And so that would be, I don't know what Indiana paid him. That contract hasn't come out, but the number is around $400,000, which is what he is saying. So it's realistic that is what, if the contract is and let's be honest, all these NIL contracts are sort of pay for play, but if that is void of, if he's ineligible with whatever collective he signed with, that is lost income, and it does irreparable harm, to him. Everybody would like an extra $400,000 in a year. And if you lose it, it does, no matter how much money it kind of hurts.
How key of a piece is he to the Indiana defense? I mean, it's a team that's ranked in the preseason, obviously coming off of last year's playoff appearance. How big a deal would it be if he can't play?
Oh, it's a pretty big deal, because you're slotted him in to start at one of the safety positions. There you have essentially, if you look at everybody has been knocking Indiana's non-conference schedule, but you have essentially a month to figure out who your starting safety would be if Lou Moore is ineligible before the Illinois game on September 20th, and that's worst case scenario. So they have a couple more weeks of fall camp. They've been just like any practice, you have to practice, well, what happens if this guy gets hurt or he's out for a play, and you want to get different guys on the field at the same time. So they've been doing that, but it is a big deal, because you're taking a starter, a high-level starter who's been productive in the Big Ten before when he was at Indiana, and taking him off the field and probably relying on a true freshman, although Byron Baldwin's a pretty highly touted true freshman. You're still relying on a true freshman to come in and fill the role of a guy who's a redshirt senior who has experience playing in the Big Ten, playing in the SEC, and has been productive at that level. So, yeah, it is a major concern. I think it would be a major blow to start off with, but it also is an opportunity to get a talented freshman on the field if it comes to that.
All right. Curt Cignetti made some waves with changing the schedule. They dumped Virginia 2 years to add, what was it, Kent State 1 year, and I forgot who the team was the other year. You mentioned their non-conference schedule. Do you think that's the right approach? I know that in the past, it doesn't matter. Losses matter more than wins to get in the committee. The strength of schedule doesn't matter as much. But do you think Cignetti's making the right approach for Indiana with dumping Virginia, that power school in football, for what they did?
Yes, this is like one of the few hills I'll die on with IU football. They need as many wins as you could get. And one of the reasons why they dumped Virginia was in 2027, they would only have 6 home games. So one of the bad things about the Big Ten playing 9 games is it's an odd number. 1 year you'll play 4 home games, another year you'll play 5. So 2027 is the year that they would play 4 conference home games, and they really wanted a 7th home game. I don't think Virginia is going to move the needle. If you beat them, people are, oh, wow, you beat Virginia. Great. We're still not going to put you in the college football playoff. But also the argument is, if, this 8-game SEC schedule and the 9-game Big Ten schedule, take whatever Big Ten team off the schedule and replace it with Virginia, and is it getting that much harder? I'm for Indiana scheduling all these teams. They really spanked themselves in the past with scheduling like Missouri a couple of times, Navy. But yeah, the Big Ten's biggest mistake was going to 9 conference games. It's something that when you look at rankings, college football playoff arguments, you have an automatic week where you're going 9-9. since there are 18 teams in the Big Ten, instead of something like 16-2 or 15-3, where you really boost that, the conference records and things like that. Maybe get a bowl team eligible who's not going to be eligible if they play a Big Ten team. So I think it's fine. They still have Notre Dame on the schedule. I think in 2030 and 2031, we'll see where the sport is in the next couple of years anyway. I don't know how, it just seems like it changes every other hour on who's going to be in this conference, where people are going, and it's fine. But yeah, I understand people's frustrations with it, and I understand fans' frustrations with it, and that's probably who I'm more sympathetic with. If you're going to dole out all this money for tickets, you kind of want to see a marquee opponent. But Virginia is not that marquee opponent. That's a game they've played in the past. It's fine. It's a fine game. Going to UVA is great and fun, but they wanted 7 games that year, and that's why they did it this late in the game. It's hard to find a Power 4 opponent who will just come to Wilmington without a return game.
Sammy Jacobs, HoosierHuddle.com, HoosierHuddle.com. Follow him and the site on X at Hoosier_Huddle. All right. Can you, in about a minute, so what has last year led to? Okay, that is radically different in Indiana football and athletics. Like, in Southwest Florida, they had a basketball team go to the Sweet 16 a dozen years ago, and it changed the university for the rest of the decade. What did last year's playoff appearance do for IU?
It made people mad about Indiana football. No, I think it's made the athletic department realize how important football is to that department. They sold out the last 4 games of the season last year. They've already sold out the Illinois game this year. They're close to selling out a couple more games. I think you realize that, Indiana was a basketball school, but you realize how big of a component of your athletic department that football is. And that's what happened. Now you realize, oh, yeah, we could do this. We could sell out the stadium, and people care. This is not Indiana wasn't bad at football because fans didn't care about football. It was that they didn't put the resource into it, and I think that's the lesson they learned by going 11-1. Is, hey, if we put the money into it and the resources into it, this can work.
Sammy Jacobs, HoosierHuddle.com, HoosierHuddle.com. Sammy, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. All the best. Safe travels throughout the season. Hopefully we can talk again.
All right. Thank you, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Sammy Jacobs joining us on the American Paint Supplies Hotline, your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
And I'll tell you what, they needed to get that 7th home game because this home schedule is a dandy. Old Dominion, Kennesaw State, Indiana State. Then they get Illinois. That one's sold out. You just heard it. UCLA's or Michigan State for homecoming. UCLA and Wisconsin are their 7 home games. So Illinois and Wisconsin, I would think, would get the fan base excited. I'm being serious when I say that. I don't know if any of the other 5 do.
Who do they play in conference on the road? Like last year, they went to Ohio State. They had Michigan at home last year.
They go to Iowa right after the Illinois game. A week off, then they go to Oregon. The 2 home games against Sparty and UCLA, and then back-to-back roadies at Maryland, at Penn State, home for Wisconsin, bye week, and they finish up at Purdue. So they have, for sure, to me, 2 games for sure they're going to be big underdogs in, Oregon and Penn State. And depending on how Iowa gets started, that game, I would think Iowa would be a slight favorite at home.
So no Ohio State, no Michigan.
But they do get Penn State and Oregon.
Right. But in theory, then 2 losses on the schedule, and then Iowa
possible.
and Illinois, yeah.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from that fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Defining a new era in men's health. Get stronger and healthier at Game Day Men's Health. With our in-house laboratory, get in, get treated, and get back to your passion and purpose. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs or Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for a 10% discount on your service. Start living your best with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples. Call 239-427-3441 today.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
While you were gone, something happened to me that had never happened before.
Okay.
Aikman fired me.
What?
Well, you know how Danielson once a year fires me? You know, I say something or I do something, or, you know, when I remind him that I voted for Woodson over Peyton for the Heisman, right? So we're supposed to have a Zoom production meeting right after the show. And I text Troy and I said, yeah, I'm not zooming in on this production meeting. Okay, I hope that's okay. If not, let me know and I'll change my plans. But I got errands to run and I got a flight this afternoon, blah, blah, blah. He waited a while and he just texted back, you're fired.
I see he won a little lawsuit.
It's funny. I asked him about that quite a while ago, and he had told me that matter was resolved. So I was actually surprised at what came out yesterday because I asked him about it months ago, and he said, "Yeah, I won. That's taken care of." I went, "Oh, okay." But yeah. I mean, Dale Jr., Aikman, I mean, Lamar got in the way of for years of quite a lot of things that people wanted merchandise or what have you over the number 8.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour in the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. Pat Kerwin on the show tomorrow. Trent Bally on the show tomorrow. In fact, co-hosting tomorrow.
You're leaving me with Trent.
I am.
Trent, by the way, not a part of the young Americans that are not drinking. Just saying.
Is he aware of the stats? Okay, and which he is now. I will say he's barely in the majority, right? 54%.
Well, I don't know about his age. It's the lowest number of adults drinking ever. Like 54% say they consume alcohol. It's the lowest number since they've kept track of these. It's nearly been 100 years. And the reason is that more of the Gen Zers are not drinking.
Right.
So.
Which, by the way, what are the percentages then of the 50 plus?
Oh, we're way up there. Don't kid yourself. I mean, let's see. They don't have any money. The job future looks just wonderful if you're around 25 right now. And things like buying a house are so easy for young kids.
Well, very affordable. There's no
right.
question.
Very affordable.
Yes, very affordable. Yeah.
So maybe, as you said, there's just no leftover money, David.
It could be, because there's certainly plenty of reasons too, right?
Right. Unless you're living at home with your parents, then you have extra money. Speaking of which, Trent Bally hosting the show with me tomorrow.
Are the Tigers playing today? Because he's like, the young lady in our chat room, Paula. I feel like her mood every morning is dependent on the success of her sports teams. She snaps out of it pretty quickly, but Trent is greatly affected by even a 2-game skid can send him skidding.
We talked yesterday. He was in a pretty good mood. They do play today. They are at Minnesota, which is like playing a AAA team, and Scooble's on the mound. So if they don't win, he may be in a foul mood just because of all the information I just gave you. They're minus 215 for what it's worth. But then again, your Mets are minus 190 and they're playing the Braves, and we all know how well the Mets do against the Braves.
I was going to say, I mean, is Seaver pitching in 69? Is Gooden pitching in 85? Is anybody paying attention? Okay, I don't care if the Braves pitcher is undecided. What? Man. Tell you what, right now, I actually think I'm more worried about the Mets than the Yankees. And that wasn't the case until last night. Last night's the type of loss that shakes a team a little bit. It's not just because they had a 6-0 lead and they lost, but without question, their best pitcher this year, their best starting pitcher, it's not even debatable, was on the hill, Mark, and he was cruising. And the Mets starters can't even go 5 innings, never mind more than that. And this guy is the only guy who's been pitching into the 6th and 7th. And then he can't get out of the 4th. And this is the type of, you score the however dozen runs or whatever it was the night before, you hit 6 homers and you win. Then you score 6 runs in the first 2 innings. And it's like, okay, we're snapping out of it. And then you blow a 6-0 lead at home with your best pitcher on the mound? I mean, he did make the All-Star team. He's a decent pitcher.
No, I understand. And you have more of a pulse on your team. I wonder the rate at which the Reds have to win over the long haul of those couple of months at the end of the season. Can they continue it? And at some point, do the Mets just snap out of it?
Well, that's what I mean, if you're the Mets, though, didn't you think that was happening? You hit 6 homers the night before. You're up 6-0. You got your best pitcher on the mound. Okay. I mean, Mark, the lead's down to 1.
I know.
1.
I understand.
And the season's down to the quarter pole, basically, within like 2 games of being at the 3/4 pole. I will say this about the Yankees, and I know there's a lot of Yankee fans out there. I believe the Yankees have the easiest or second easiest remaining schedule based on their opponent's winning percentage. So while they only have a 1-game lead over the Guardians, how ironic, Mark. Last year and in other years, we would have said, think about it. The 2 New York teams are trying to hold off third-place teams, or one's a second-place team, and the other's a third-place team in the Central Division. And it's possible that the teams in the Eastern divisions have the easier remaining schedule.
I will say, the Reds still have 3 with the Mets. They host the Mets for those 3. That'll be big early in September. They've got a couple series left with the Brewers, including one that's starting this weekend. So I'll be interested to see how the Reds fare the rest of the way, because now, David, they're starting to play pressure baseball. Now they're essentially playing playoff games for the next 6 weeks. I'm not comparing them to the Marlins, but sometimes you get close and you just can't handle it. The Marlins got to 500 and had a free fall.
So it's interesting. So the Brewers have won 12 in a row, and they're going to begin series because do the Brewers play today? They're off today, aren't they?
They're off.
So 12 in a row, and then they're going to play the Reds in Cincinnati for 3 and the Cubs on the north side for 5.
And the Cubs, before the series against Milwaukee, get the Pirates to try to get their ship straightened. So big week for the NL Central, David, for the Brewers, for the Cubs, and for the Reds. The next week will shake out a lot of things, I believe.
So in other words, by a week from tomorrow, we might be able to put that X next to Milwaukee in stone, in ink. This sucker's over.
By the way, Padres and Pirates starting tomorrow. Padres and Dodgers, I'm sorry. Padres and Dodgers tomorrow start for 3. And they're battling for that division. I'd love to see the Padres end up winning that division. I really would. Because After losing the Chargers, the Padres have gone out and spent the money. They've brought in the talent. They looked at the opportunity to own the city and have done everything that they've needed to do to accomplish that other than win in the fall. But if they can overtake the Dodgers and win that division, that would be monstrous for that franchise.
By the way, right now, for as much as we've talked about, you could have a Seattle-Milwaukee World Series or a Toronto-Milwaukee World Series and how Fox would be crying. This is ESPN's last year of baseball. They get the wild card round exclusively. All 4 series, they get them. Mark, right now in the National League, the 4-5 series is the Dodgers and the Cubs.
Great for ESPN. Baseball doesn't want one of those games out early.
No, but ESPN would be petitioning. Can we make this a best of 5? How come only 3?
Absolutely.
But that's your 4-5 series in the National League right now. And it's percentage points. The Cubs actually, it would be at Wrigley. That'd be awesome.
By the way, the 3-6 in the AL right now is Astros Yankees.
Right.
That's sexy because people have an opinion on the Houston Astros, and most everybody cannot stand them. They think they're cheating bums.
And the Yankees still hate them for 2017.
Absolutely. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Today was the day when and what's on tap. That's what we'll do next.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Rheem Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
Got a cracked window or foggy glass? Don't wait for the next storm to make it worse. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business is just down the road and ready to help. From leaky frames to shattered panes, we've got the tools and the know-how to get your home or business storm ready. With flexible scheduling and our done right promise, you'll be in good hands. So before or after the weather hits, call your neighbors at Glass Doctor.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor. We fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Yeah, JDR, there's a great minor league scene going on in Jersey and for that matter, the eastern part of Pennsylvania also. There's a really nice minor league scene, double and triple A stuff going on in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and New York. Even the A-ball situation, I think it's Brooklyn or whatever, or Staten Island. I mean, there's a nice minor league scene going on in that part of the country, which was not there when I was growing up at all.
By the way, had you heard of Benchmark before yesterday? The company that took over the naming rights for the Lightning for
Mm-mm.
AMLO? Yeah.
Mm-mm.
I had to look up who they were. I had no idea who they were.
What are they?
They're a business acquisition company. Looks like they help companies, sell other companies.
So
I don't get the naming rights part of it. What's your angle there?
So it's no longer Amelie?
Correct. That was
Hmm.
yesterday. That was in that long text that we were going. You were driving. Probably didn't see it.
I didn't. I was actually a good little boy and wasn't paying attention to my phone while driving. That's why I so wanted that podcast to drop, at like noon yesterday, because I would have listened to the whole thing. I am making unbelievable time, by the way, when I'm doing these Fort Myers to Jacksonville and back. I mean, I went door to door in a little less than 5 and stopped twice.
You were flying then.
I was hauling.
Now, you make the little cut in Ocala. You do that, obviously, right?
I do 301, yeah. But
it is quicker going than coming, because when you take that little turn off the one road that you kind of backdoor your way from 301 to the road that crossed the highway, it always gets backed up there pretty badly. I think it's easier, on the way than it is on the way back.
Yeah, I got lucky. I didn't hit any of the I-10 or I-95 traffic for the 20 minutes I was on it.
No, I'm actually talking about the road that you get off of 75 to get to 301. That.
Okay. Yeah, that 2 mile stretch.
4 miles,
right?
And then you make a left.
Yeah.
But when you come back, you can take that cutoff.
Yes.
And that road usually gets backed up by about 30, 50 cars, and it doesn't go fast. And then getting on 75, they're all backed up there too. But you were doing it during the week. It's not nearly as bad if you're on a Friday or a Sunday. But
yeah, JDR, I was thrilled when I went to Binghamton in the summer of 91. Like my second week on the job, we had the story that the minor league baseball was returning to Binghamton, and it left in the late 60s. And so it made my stay in Binghamton a lot more enjoyable. I had AHL hockey and AA baseball. Oh, I loved it. And the two teams were the Rangers and the Mets, which obviously had my interest. You still do Red Hawks, Robes? Fargo Moorhead Red Hawks. I don't know if it's still the Northern League or not.
I get out of the Muscles game. That's like the school game where the school gets money because it's a Friday, and well, we've got gymnastics, so
nice.
You got that right, because I'd have been sucked into going.
Oh yeah, the Wilkes-Barre, the Red Barons.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Poll question. Top 3 teams of the Big Ten, all ranked in the top 10 in the preseason polls. Which one of them do you think is going to win it? Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon. We threw other up there as well. Didn't want Illinois, Michigan, and Indiana fans to be insulted, but there you have it.
What about Nebraska fan?
Okay, now that's funny. That's funny, even though they could be 7-0. Okay, it's funny. I mean, Do you know how much the Big Ten needs Nebraska to be Nebraska again? Well, put it this way. I don't know if the Big Ten needs it, but let me tell you, do the networks televising Big Ten football? They need USC to be USC. They need Wisconsin/Iowa to be at the top of the single-digit win column. Okay, 8 minimum, if not 9. And boy, do they need Nebraska to be Nebraska again, because 3 networks televising that schedule, they ain't enough good games to go around.
No, and I mean, not because I went to school there. They could use the place I went to school at to play football again and not be a doormat in that conference. But, David, if Nebraska gets Michigan on September 20th, 7-0, are you sure they're not 10-0 going to Happy Valley? I'm just saying, Indiana did it a year ago. Look at Nebraska's schedule.
I know.
If they beat Michigan, they should be favored in every game until they go to Happy Valley.
And Nebraska fans like, can we just beat Cincinnati week 1 at Arrowhead, please? Can we just do that? Because then we should be 3-0 hosting Michigan. New quarterback, head coach suspended, 3:30 CBS. Okay, a few people actually watch Nebraska football for the first time in a while. Okay, and you're right, though, Mark. If they win that and Nebraska's 4-0, they'll get ranked. Oh, is Big Red football back? Yada, yada.
And then they won't play anybody for a month and a half, so they can keep on winning. Don't screw it up. But if you beat Michigan, I'm telling you right now, Nebraska could be 10-0 going to Penn State. They got to beat Michigan.
Yep.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Today Was the Day When is brought to you by Game Day Men's Health in Bonita Springs and Naples. Call today, 239-427-3441. That's 239-427-3441. Or visit them online, GameDayMen'sHealth.com, GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Mention Miller and Moulton. That'll get you 10% off your service. We start today in 1945. It's VJ Day. That's VJ Day. Empire of Japan surrenders unconditionally to the Allies. The first American Football League meeting is held in Chicago today in 1959, and charter memberships are handed to Dallas, New York, Houston, Denver, Los Angeles, and Minneapolis, St. Paul. The AFL is named the following week. I got you, babe. Number 1 in the land today in 1965, David. 1977, Lanny Watkins wins his only major in the PGA in a sudden death playoff with Gene Littler. Today in 1985, Michael Jackson and Paul McCartney were no longer friends.
Right.
They were up until this point, but it was today in 85 that Michael Jackson buys the publishing rights to most of the Beatles song catalog for $47.5 million. 10 years later, he would triple his money, selling just half of his interest in it for $150 million. Keegan Bradley wins the PGA at the Atlanta Athletic Club today in 2011, beating Jason Duffner in a 3-hole playoff.
I felt good for Duffner because 2 years later, Duffner wins his PGA. He gets, because he kind of had that PGA and kind of lost it late. And so at least Duffner got his.
Today in 2016, Justin Rose wins the first ever golf gold medal at the Rio Games. Today in 2021, Tyler Gilbert had his Major League Baseball debut pitching for the Arizona Diamondbacks. He'd throw a no-hitter. They would win 7-0. It would actually also set a record with the 8th no-hitter of the season. Equaled a record. And Aaron Judge hits his 300th home run 1 year ago today, reaching that mark faster than any other player before. Not in terms of his age, but in terms of games played and at-bats. Doc Holliday, Earl Weaver. A couple of guys that could get ticked off right there. You know, one would shoot you, the other one would kick dirt all over you. David Crosby and Mark the Bird Fidrich would have all celebrated birthdays today. Steve Martin is 80 years old. Gary Larson from the Far Side. Yeah, he does. You're right. He still tours playing the banjo with his bluegrass band. Gary Larson, the originator of the Far Side comics, is 75. Rusty Wallace, 69. Magic, 66 today. Holly Berry's 59, David. Do I need to take a moment for you?
Absolutely, you need to take a moment, or I'll just take it.
Good enough. Mike Vrabel is 50. Mila Kunis is 42. And Tim Tebow. Happy 38th birthday to Tim Tebow.
Mila Kunis is only 42.
Yeah.
Man, she's been around a long time.
She was doing that 70s show
right
really young. I mean, that's a long time ago, that show. I mean, both she and Ashton Kutcher have had pretty damn good careers coming off of that thing.
Right. The only thing I got, you mentioned a no-hitter, but did you mention Bob Gibson's no-hitter?
I did not.
The only no-hitter of the Hall of Famer's career was on this date in 1971, an 11-0 no-hitter. I believe there was a really long inning late in the game. And, is he going to stay in? Is it going to affect him? Only no-hitter of Bob Gibson's career. It is staggering the number of Hall of Fame pitchers who have zero or, quote, only one no-hitter. Seaver only had one. Gibson only had one. Pedro, I don't think, had a no-no. Now, he had that perfect game into extra innings, but it doesn't count. I don't know if Maddox had a no-hitter.
Boy, I don't think so.
I mean, it's remarkable. We're talking legendary pitchers. By the way, Schilling, who should be in the Hall of Fame, he didn't have a no-hitter. He had a perfect game for 8 2/3, but he didn't have a no-hitter.
Yeah, Maddox never had a no-hitter.
Right. It's remarkable the number of great pitchers that never got a no-no. Bob Gibson's only one was 54 years ago today.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What do you got, Mark?
For the good today, we go to Chicago, where drivers and pedestrians had to look out for an unexpected hazard when a sheep was running loose through the city streets. Several witnesses captured video of the animal being pursued by slaughterhouse employees. The sheep was about to be slaughtered for food consumption, and the sheep made it out, crashed through a window. Finally, the sheep was corralled by Chicago Animal Care and Control. They, however, did not take it back to the slaughterhouse. They are finding someone to adopt the sheep, trying to get it on a farm so it can live the rest of its life out comfortably. No sheep for you. That's a tough one to do because I had to say sheep enough in that it could have gone horribly awry. For the bad, we go to Charlotte County, where a 13-year-old boy was arrested after trying to steal vape pens. He entered the Deep Creek discount store on Wednesday and pointed what appeared to be a small black handgun at the victim. The victim handed over the vape pens, and Oliver Britton, the 13-year-old, left the store with the pens and an energy drink. They found him at a nearby Beef O'Brady's. He admitted to the robbery and the gun he used was an airsoft gun. Young man, change your ways and change them quickly, or life is going to be a lot rougher for you. And then finally, the ugly. We go to Utah, in a town called Orem, Utah, where an Orem woman was arrested over the weekend for the illegal discharge of a firearm. Apparently, she was in a little bit of an argument with her phone. Her boyfriend said she was screaming at her phone. She then went into the bedroom and took her boyfriend's gun and shot her phone. You're never going to believe this, but the boyfriend said she was drunk and angry about her phone. And she grabbed his gun and said she was going to shoot her phone. She accomplished it. That is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, Thursday, August the 14th, here on Miller and Moulton.
Listen, we got golf today, the BMW. So I'm guessing it's Golf Channel. I hope I'm not wrong there.
Should be ESPN Plus now, Golf Channel later.
Yeah, I think it's ESPN Plus / maybe a little Peacock. Okay, but yeah. Something is happening tonight that I have to admit I'm shocked about. I mean, we don't know the fine print involved in television contracts sometimes. But you know how, Mark, occasionally it's hockey and we comment, hey, good job by the network televising these teams, or, baseball, FS1. TBS has their Tuesday nights, FS1 has their Thursday nights. Now, there's only 7 games today and tonight to choose from. But, I mean, the Cubs and Blue Jays are playing at 3 o'clock in Toronto. But if you want to show a game in prime time, okay. I mean, the choices aren't great. Philly and Washington, Detroit and Minnesota, although, you get Scooble, right?
Right.
Braves and the Mets, I guess you could go down that road. I'm not kidding. At 8:30 tonight on FS1, Arizona is at Colorado.
That'll bring in the viewers, David.
The 32-88 Rockies, on pace to win 43 games, are hosting a game on FS1 tonight. Wow. That's unbelievable. I mean, that's where, are we mandated to show every team once? What's in the contract? How are we, somebody needs to be fired. What are we, Arizona, Colorado? 2 teams below 500?
I don't know what to tell you. I literally don't know what to tell you. That makes no sense.
I mean, if they had like a 23-game losing streak or something like that, there was some appeal to it.
And even if it was one of the last games of the season and all the playoff spots have been determined, if you know what I mean, the wild cards figured itself out, and the Rockies could lose the most games ever, maybe there's some interest there.
That's it. 7 baseball games. There's no WNBA tonight. There's golf during the day. And the LPGA Tour's in Portland. You might get a little dinner time, early evening golf if you're interested.
No football preseason-wise until tomorrow, which surprises me. I thought there was a Thursday night game like from now until forever.
Yeah, I thought there was too.
But there isn't.
No,
there is not. The first game is tomorrow night, Titans and Falcons, and then Chiefs and Seahawks are the late game. So there are no. I thought the stat was we had a Thursday game like from now until
second week of January, right? So is there a game somewhere that we're missing?
I don't think so.
No, I don't either.
Miller and Moulton. Trent Bally filling in for David tomorrow. We'll find out if his friends drink or if he's the only one, and I'm sure we'll get a few previews on his thoughts on the NFL season. Miller and Moulton, thanks so much for listening.
Shoeless Joe Sports Cafe is where your fantasy football draft should be. Free private rooms, Wi-Fi, plus food and drink specials. In August, Shoeless has bingo and trivia Tuesdays and Thursdays with your chance to win free wings and beer for a year. Fridays, live music on the deck. Saturdays, karaoke on the deck. Plus daily meal specials like Wednesdays, $6 wings and half-price pizza. Watch all your baseball and football at Shoeless Joe's, your home for good food, good times, and good sports in the Bell Tower Shops, Fort Myers.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or NolanAgency.com.
Honey, you want to come out? I haven't seen you since Glass Doctor installed our custom shower enclosure.
No thanks.
Well, you can't keep eating breakfast in the shower, and laminating your magazines is getting expensive. You remember we have guests coming over tonight, right?
Oh, I'm sure they'd love to see the shower.
It's our neighbors, and I highly doubt they want to be hanging out in our bathroom.
The shower's so good, you'll never want to leave. Visit glassdoctor.com today and schedule an appointment online.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Rheem Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
This is Miller and Moulton.